I'm in GT, my brother is Broly. Chapter 51 Z Warrior Group destroys Crisis, Buma's plea. It doesn't have to be. With a wave of his hand, Bupa stopped Broly's thanks, and then said, Broly, you'll go to the side area to rest first, then leave it to me. Yes, sir. As soon as he agreed, Broly did not refuse. At this moment, he was quite embarrassed, and the strength in his body had also been consumed by 7 to 88, and he really couldn't continue to persist. Immediately, Broly took a deep look at Son Goku and the others in the nearby area, and murmured, Kakarot, I remember you. After saying that, Broly turned around and flew to the area where Buma and others were. At this moment, Bupa snorted, and finally the power of the flash increased again, and frantically pressed against Son Goku, Son Gohan, Vegeta and Trunks. Ki blast was suppressed. Son Gohan on the ground kept roaring, and his eyes were full of anger and unwillingness at this moment, for nothing else, because they could clearly feel the threat from Bupa's final flash. Even under the disparity of absolute power, they even risked death. Damn, how did this guy Bupa's power increase so much? Watching this scene blankly, Vegeta gritted her teeth extremely unwillingly. It was difficult for him to accept that Bupa's power would be so terrifying, and the latter was still in the form of a super game, not a super transition mode. This also means that the gap between the strengths of the two sides is extremely huge, even a gap that is almost inaccessible. Not right. At this time, Son Goku seemed to have discovered something, and stared at Bupa in midair. Gohan, Vegeta, do you see that Bupa has a reddish aura? Pale red gus? Hearing this, Son Gohan, Vegeta and Trunks were all taken aback, wondering why Son Goku had this question. However, although they were puzzled, the eyes of several people were also positively on Bupa. Not surprisingly, in addition to the golden aura brought by the super competition, Bupa's body at this moment has a faint red aura emerging. Dad, there is indeed a red aura. But what does that mean? Subconsciously, Son Gohan asked. Not only him, but Vegeta and Trunks also looked at Son Goku curiously. Kaio-ken. On the other hand, Son Goku was not selling anything at the moment. After getting the confirmation, he said with a dignified expression, if my guess is correct, Bupa cast Kaio-ken, and this Kaio-ken's power was displayed by him in the super match mode, which led to his combat power jumping to 80 billion. What? Kaio-ken? Hearing this, Son Gohan and Vegeta all exclaimed. They all know that Son Goku will be Kaio-ken, and Kaio-ken's boosting effect is extremely terrifying. When Vegeta first entered the earth, the gap between the two sides was huge, but Son Goku beat him with Kaio-ken, and even defeated Vegeta in the end. Kakarot, are you sure you read it right? Subconsciously, Vegeta said, that guy Bupa really used Kaio-ken. If this is the case, then you can also use it. The same Kaio-ken's amplification, he can and you can definitely. As soon as these words came out, the eyes of Son Gohan and others also focused on Son Goku. After all, according to the current situation, only Son Goku's Kaio-ken increase has the possibility to compete with it. No, I can't. Hearing this, Son Goku smiled bitterly, and then said, I have tried it a long time ago, but it is difficult to perform Kaio-ken when I transform into Super Saiyan. I thought everyone would be like this, but I never imagined that Bupa was so talented. Using Kaio-ken in super form is unbelievable and shocking. Hearing this, Son Gohan, Vegeta and Trunks' faces all turned a little ugly. I thought that Son Goku could also do this, so there is still the possibility of a comeback for himself and others. But now it seems that it is obviously impossible, which means that they have no possibility of resisting. For a time, Son Gohan, Vegeta and Trunks' faces became extremely ugly. Feeling the suppression of the final flash, the crisis of death made them feel cold all over. Master Bupa is going to win. On the ground, number 21 and number 16 spoke subconsciously, looking at Bupa with longing eyes. Big brother, especially Broly, his fists were clenched at this moment, and his eyes were full of horror. He also got the inheritance of Bupa, also will Kaio-ken, although only 5 times, but not to be underestimated. But Broly has not yet managed to fuse Kaio-ken with the super game form. If he can really do this, the 4 of Son Gohan are definitely not his opponents. Kaio-ken, I must integrate it into the transformation as soon as possible. Subconsciously clenching his fists, Broly made up his mind, his eyes full of determination. How to do. On the other hand, the faces of Buma and Piccolo in the rear area were extremely worried and impatient at the moment. As things stand, the Son Goku quartet is clearly no match for Bupa. If the final flash comes, Son Goku will die without a doubt. But they couldn't do anything about it, which made Piccolo and Buma feel hopeless. Seeing that the final flash was infinitely close to Son Goku and others under Bupa's control, the color of fear in Buma's eyes became even more intense. Bupa. Suddenly, Buma seemed to have made up his mind, and stepped forward with a sharp clench of his teeth. Please let Son Goku, Vegeta and the others go for once. As soon as these words came out, number 21, number 16, Piccolo and Broly looked at Buma in astonishment. Unexpectedly, she dared to ask for mercy at this time, and she was still begging for Son Goku and others. Piccolo, number 21 and number 16 are quite shocking. Broly looked at her with more and more bad eyes, and even murderous intent flashed in his eyes. If it wasn't for Bupa wanting scientists to create artificial Saiyan, Broly wouldn't be able to resist. Why should I let them go? With an indifferent smile, Bupa glanced at Buma with disapproval on his face. He didn't care about Buma's intercession, he had his own ideas and goals, and a mere woman was not enough to influence his decision. No. Seeing this situation, Buma became anxious. She knew that Bupa was definitely not a kind person, and if the latter really did not let Vegeta and the others go, Son Goku and others would have to die here. For a while, Buma's expression changed several times, and then he raised his head and gritted his teeth. As long as you let them go this time, I will tell you the location of the new Namek. Chapter 53 Lazuli Sister and Brother Evolution. Bupa greatly improved. Once again a crushing defeat, which made Son Goku and others a blow. At this moment, they went straight to the heaven, eager to find out if there is any way to become stronger. 7 days. They only have the last 7 days to be strong enough to change that. If you can't become stronger and even defeat Broly within these 7 days, then the entire Earth and the humans on it will die. Big brother. At this time, Broly hurried to Bupa's side and said excitedly, "Brother, you are too powerful. The strength has increased so much all of a sudden. Big brother, how did you cast Supreme Kai in Super Ace form? Can you teach me?" At this moment, Broly's eyes were full of anticipation and yearning. He will 5 times Kaio-ken. It is because of this that Broly is eager to transform himself into a fusion. Once fusion is done, Broly can definitely beat Son Gohan et al. On the other hand, if he can't accomplish this, his strength is superior to Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks, but he is definitely not the opponent of Super 2 Son Gohan. Certainly. With an indifferent smile, Bupa glanced at Broly, and then said, "I will train you to become stronger for the next 7 days, and at the same time help you master the ability to open Kaio-ken in Super Transfer mode." Great. Hearing this, Broly was overjoyed. With Bupa's words, he was instantly reassured. At the same time, Broly's heart is also just around the corner. "I can't wait to start special training now, and start trying to master it now." Ding. The bound character Lazuli has increased his combat power by 1 billion, and the tenfold return has been opened. Congratulations to the host for increasing his combat power by 10 billion. Ding. The bound character Lapis has increased his combat power by 1.2 billion, and the tenfold return is enabled. Congratulations to the host for increasing his combat power by 12 billion. At this time, the system prompt sounded. The next second, Bupa only felt a shock all over his body, and then the combat power in his body soared rapidly at this moment. With a bang, Bupa's chi swept out, and directly knocked Broly out of the side. Not just Broly, including Lazuli and others on the island, they also encountered the oppression of chi, and they were all crumbling at the moment. Their bodies swayed and their faces turned pale. Receive. Almost immediately, Bupa restrained his chi. After all this was done, Bupa didn't bother to check the situation of Broly and others, and immediately said, "System, check the personal panel." In the next second, Bupa's message emerged. Bupa, race, Saiyan, bloodline, second class super bloodline, combat power, 22.6 billion. Transformation, Super Saiyan. Ability, Kaio-ken, Prince Tactics, Final Flash. It's done. After reading his own information, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose, and his eyes were full of excitement. It finally worked. Conquer the Lazuli siblings, who has planned so many things for this. Now it has finally successfully completed the upgrade, and it is still taking off. 22.6 billion basic combat power. Once Super Saiyan is transformed, his combat power will reach more than 1 trillion. With a combat power of more than 1 trillion, unless Son Goku reaches the Super 3 form, or is the original Bbook, almost no one can threaten his safety. This is not to mention the increase of his Kaio-ken. If he activates 10 times Kaio-ken in the form of Super Competition, his combat power will even reach more than 11 trillion. Good. For a time, Bupa was overjoyed. Absolute power is enough to make him defy all crises. At least until Evil Dragon and Jiao Si appeared, almost no one could compete with him. "Brother, your strength has increased again?" At this time, Broly came hurriedly, and when he arrived next to Bupa, his eyes were full of questions. Good. Nodding, Bupa came back to his senses, turned his head to look at Broly and said, "My strength has improved a lot. But you don't have to suffer any blows for this. My promotion was accomplished by other means, not by my own cultivation. As long as you practice hard, you can improve your own strength at the fastest speed, and you will not be weaker than me at that time." This is not Bupa comforting Broly. After all, it is the bloodline of Chuan Chao, and there was no condition to help Broly develop more power. But now it's different. There are 3 scientists, plus Bupa's understanding of Dragon Ball. It is not difficult to help Broly become stronger quickly. "Okay, big brother." Nodding heavily, Broly couldn't wait to say, "Then when will we start practicing?" He had been a little impatient before. At this moment, after seeing Bupa's improvement, he couldn't wait even more. "Not urgent." With an indifferent smile, Bupa reached out and patted Broly on the shoulder and said, "Go to Lazuli's area first. It's hard to get stronger in a short period of time, so you need their help." "Can they help me?" Raising his brows, Broly subconsciously glanced at Lazuli and the others not far away, his eyes full of suspicion. Although the strength of the Lazuli siblings has improved a bit, to be honest, they have not been taken seriously by Broly. Now Bupa actually says that these weaklings can help him. It's incredible. Don't underestimate anyone. Seeing Broly's reaction, Bupa didn't know what he was thinking, and immediately said, with the help of technology, you can get stronger with less effort. After speaking, Bupa no longer hesitated, and flew to where Buma and the others were. On the other hand, Broly was thoughtful, and then he no longer hesitated, and accelerated to follow. Call out! Call out! With the sound of breaking air, Bupa and Broly returned to the small island with less than 3 kilometers remaining. Master Bupa! Master Bupa! Seeing the return of the two, Lazuli and the others did not dare to neglect, and hurriedly bowed and saluted. Lazuli and Lapis, in particular, looked at Bupa with admiration. That's the benefit of having a loyalty of 90, and the two of them are already die-hard Bupa fans. Get up! With a wave of his hand, Bupa motioned for everyone to get up. Immediately afterwards, his eyes turned to Lazuli and Lapis, secretly said, System, check the information of the two. In the next second, the information of the Lazuli siblings appeared in front of him. Lazuli, race, Super Cyborg, combat power, 1.7 billion. Lapis, race, Super Cyborg, combat power, 2 billion. Good, good. After reading the information of the two, Bupa nodded in satisfaction, and then asked, Lazuli, Lapis, how do you feel after this promotion? Possible to reach the point of full body cell before? Chapter 54 to Semi-Perfect Bodies, Artificial Saiyan. Lapis. No. Hearing this, the Lazuli siblings all shook their heads. They have seen the full body cell, and they are very clear that the current self has no possibility of being comparable to it. They're only semi-perfect now. At this moment, number 21 stepped forward, looked at the Lazuli siblings enviously and said, before, if they swallowed the future number 17 and number 18 alone, they could evolve into a complete body. But they've only swallowed one now, which means they haven't completed their entire evolution. But even so, in the semi-complete body, they have activated most of the cell capabilities in the body. If nothing else, they should have acquired a lot of Dr. Jiro's ability to collect cell masters by now. What? There is also this saying. Hearing this, Buma exclaimed. His eyes were full of incredible colors. Cyborg. To be able to activate the ability of other people's cells is simply incredible. Good. Nodding, Lazuli glanced at number 21, and then said, I activated the cells of Piccolo and Frieza, not only mastering the ability to regenerate, but also being able to survive within the universe. On the 21st, why didn't you tell what you knew before? At this moment, Lazuli looked at number 21 extremely badly. If she had said the information she knew before, then Lazuli would definitely not devour the future number 17, but give it all to Lapis to let him evolve into a complete body. I wasn't sure before. However, number 21 is extremely indifferent, and there is no shame in concealing any information. Okay, Lazuli. At this time, Lapis was the first to speak. 1 complete body and 2 semi-complete bodies. I would rather choose the second one, so that your power will also increase. After speaking, Lapis turned his head to look at Bupa and said, I have awakened Frieza cells and Saiyan cells. Frieza cells allow me to survive in the universe. Saiyan cells make me stronger and stronger. But it is also difficult to complete the super ace transformation. What? Saiyan cells. Hearing this, Broly slammed forward and stared at Lapis. You have Saiyan's cellular ability. Really or not? Saiyan can really be artificially created. At this moment, not only Broly, but also Buma and number 21 showed curiosity. After all, Bupa had said before that his purpose was to create an artificial Saiyan race. But before that, neither Buma nor number 21 had much confidence. But if Lapis really awakens the ability of Saiyan cells, it means that the idea of artificial Saiyan can be realized. Certainly. Nodding his head, Lapis said indifferently, but the cells I awakened were neither Son Goku nor Vegeta, but Son Gohan. Son Gohan cells, with a flash of light in his eyes. The corner of Bupa's mouth rose and said, then you really made a profit. Kakarot and Vegeta are pure blood Saiyans, but their potential is not as good as Son Gohan. It can be said that Son Gohan is the closest to Chuan Chao in Saiyan. Even if it's not the super bloodline, if Son Gohan's potential is fully discovered, even Broly may not be able to suppress him steadily. You can awaken Son Gohan's cellular capabilities, which means your potential will be greatly improved. As soon as these words came out, Broly and others were all refreshed. Lapis, in particular, never expected Son Gohan's potential to be so praised by Bupa. All right. At this time, Bupa waved his hand, and then said, since the breakthrough has been completed, then you can continue to cultivate. 21st, I ask you if Lazuli or Lapis devour cell, will they be able to go further? Devour the cell. Hearing this, the Lazuli siblings, number 21 and number 16 all looked at Bupa in astonishment. Immediately afterwards, Lazuli seemed to think of something, and subconsciously said, Lord Bupa, isn't Cell still dead? We felt that you had completely killed Cell before. Is he still alive? Good. Nodding, Bupa said indifferently, Cell has not been completely destroyed. He should be able to recover as before. By that time, cell's power should increase a bit, so if the two of you can devour it, then you can go further. As soon as these words came out, the Lazuli sisters and brothers suddenly breathed fast. If it's true as Lapis said, then this is really a big opportunity. No. However, before the Lazuli siblings could say anything, number 21 on the side was the first to speak. They have already devoured number 17 and number 18 in the future, and now they can no longer devour Cell. If anyone can devour Cell, it must be me. Speaking of which, number 21's expression was obviously a little anxious. However, Bupa and others could also see that number 21 was lying. She obviously wanted to devour the Cell herself. Without answering number 21's words, Bupa just glanced at her, and then said, "It will take some time for Cell to recover, so don't worry now." Bulma, number 21, I need you to build a gravity room for Broly to practice. In the next 7 days, I will be guiding Broly to improve his strength. Gravity room? Brows raised, Bulma and number 21 looked at each other and said subconsciously, how big is the gravity chamber? Gravity technology is not difficult, extremely simple for Buma and 21. The heavier the better. Waving his hand, Bupa said indifferently, go get ready. It will be of great use to me to complete the preparation of the gravity chamber as soon as possible. Yes, it is good. With a promise, number 21 and Buma looked at each other, then turned around and walked towards the submerged laboratory not far away. Although most of the area is submerged, the equipment and materials in it are still enough to build a gravity chamber. Number 16, Lazuli, Lapis. Watching Buma and number 21 leave, Bupa turned to look at Sister Lazuli and number 16. Then you are responsible for guarding the spiritual fruit tree. Anyone dares to approach kill Wash. Yes. With a promise. The Lazuli siblings and number 16 agreed immediately. After looking at each other, the three of them bowed to Bupa, then turned around and galloped towards the spiritual fruit tree. After the three of them left, Bupa did not hesitate, and flew to a distant island with Broly, and began to instruct Broly to practice. Chapter 55 Son Goku's Fusion Dance, Cell's Plan. Skyline. SHHH. The sound of breaking through the air resounded, and the figures of Son Goku returned. After floating to the ground, the faces of the 5 people were also extremely ugly. Up to now, they are very worried about what they will face next. If they are a little careless, they will really lose everything. After all, there are only 7 days left. How do they improve to the point where they can defeat Broly? Old grandson. At this time, Piccolo said quietly, can you guys beat Broly in 7 days? Facing the question, Son Goku opened his mouth, and his expression became a little unnatural at this moment. 7 days. It would be fine if they could still enter the time house, but they had already run out of time to enter the time house. Under such circumstances, there is no way for him to greatly increase his combat power in a short period of time. But soon, Son Goku seemed to think of something and said subconsciously, if it's just me, it's really difficult to be Broly's opponent. Although Gohan can suppress Broly, after 7 days of Bupa's cultivation, Broly may not be able to compete with Gohan. So, I thought of a new way. I once learned a fusion dance on the planet Itrad. As long as you perform the fusion dance steps, you can make 2 people fusion become 1 person, and then their combat power and strength will be greatly improved. So, I think if you want to beat Broly, you have to do fusion. Hearing this, Vegeta and the others looked at Son Goku in astonishment. I don't know how the so-called fusion does it, but they can hear it. This is definitely the most effective solution at present. After pondering for a while, Vegeta asked, Kakarot, what are the requirements for the fusion dance steps? Can it be done in 7 days? As soon as these words came out, Piccolo and others also looked at Son Goku, their eyes full of anticipation. 7 days should be enough. Without selling off, Son Goku said directly, fusion dance steps, just need to be skilled. But if you want fusion, the power between the two can't be too different, otherwise it's almost impossible to complete fusion. Now Gohan and I can try transforming, and Vegeta and Trunks can fusion. Hearing this, Son Gohan nodded. He has no intention of rejecting fusion with his father, and he is quite looking forward to it. On the other hand, Vegeta and Trunks look a little weird. Although they are also father and son, but to be honest, it is a bit difficult to get them to agree in fusion. Vegeta. At this time, Piccolo seemed to see Vegeta's hesitation, and immediately said, this is to protect the Earth. It's also to save Bulma. The most important thing is that your opponent is Saiyan. As a proud Prince Saiyan, do you want to admit defeat? As soon as these words came out, Vegeta's face changed greatly. Admit defeat? How could Prince Saiyan concede defeat? Thinking of this, Vegeta immediately said, Kakarot, tell us how to cast that fusion technique. It is good. Hearing this, Son Goku was overjoyed. Although the power after he and Son Gohan fusion will be extremely terrifying, if Vegeta and Trunks also complete the fusion, then real safety can be ensured. After all, Bupa was the enemy, and his words were not necessarily credible. By the time Son Goku and Son Gohan fusion should be able to compete with Bupa, the fusion of Vegeta and Son will be needed to deal with Broly. Thinking of this, Son Goku no longer hesitated, and immediately began to teach Son Gohan. In the heaven, Vegeta and Trunks began to fusion. In the blink of an eye, 5 days passed. Finally recovered. On this day, a green figure returned to the Earth from outer space again. Surprisingly, the person who came back was none other than Cell. At this moment, Cell is still in a state of complete body. After returning to Earth, his eyes are full of hatred and killing intent. Bupa, damn it, wait for me. This time I'm going to tear you to pieces. As he spoke, Cell immediately prepared to go to Bupa's troubles. In this recovery, he took another step forward, which made Cell full of confidence in his own strength. Cyborg, are you an android? Suddenly, a voice came. Looking at the sound, Yamcha stared at Cell in a stunned area not far away. Coincidentally, the area where Cell came is the place where Yamcha practiced. Son Goku's companion. Seeing Yamcha, Cell's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and he stepped forward to pierce Yamcha's body. Without giving him any chance to scream, Cell's tail stuck out behind him and devoured Yamcha completely. For a time, Cell's power increased a little, although not much, but it was also obviously increasing. Spiritual Fruit Tree, apostrophe. The ring battle 2 days later. Defeat Broly to protect the Earth. At the same time, Cell got all the memories of Yamcha, and also learned about the Spirit Fruit Tree and the tournament. It is good, very good. At this moment, the corners of Cell's mouth rose, and murderous intent flashed in his eyes. In 2 days, all the powerhouses on Earth will gather together. If I can take this opportunity to devour them all, then I will definitely be the #1 powerhouse in the universe in the true sense. Apostrophe. Thinking of this, Cell's mind that originally planned to set off immediately to find Bupa also calmed down. Instead, he was calm and deliberate. Immediately afterwards, Cell split into 4 small cells with a thought. After looking at the 4 of them, he immediately said, "Go, find Son Goku and the others and let me monitor them." Yes, yes. As soon as they agreed, the little cells did not hesitate, and immediately turned around and left in a hurry. In the blink of an eye, the 4 little cells disappeared, and Cell himself sat cross-legged and began to adjust his state, waiting for the battle in 2 days. Bang bang bang. At the same time, the battle between Broly and Bupa broke out again. For 5 days, Bupa started slapping Broly in various tricks. The first 2 days were outside, and the rest of the time was inside the gravity chamber. This also led to the rapid expression of Broly's power all the time, and even the basic combat power has reached the point of 100 million. What? At this moment, a loud shout resounded, showing that Broly was trying to cast Supreme Kai in a super transmission mode. The red-green air spewed. Broly's power was rampant at this moment, and the entire gravity chamber was crumbling. Chapter 56 Chuan Chao Kaio-ken Mode, the initiative of the 21st. Is it done? Seeing this, Bupa's eyes flashed. In the past few days, Broly's basic combat power has increased to 100 million. With the anger state and super transfer mode, Broly's own ultimate combat power is enough to reach about 100 billion. It can be said that with his current combat power alone, even the limit of Super 2 Son Gohan is no match for him. But Bupa also understands that the protagonist team is bound to fail. So the only hope is for Broly to completely master Kaio-ken in the super transfer mode. Only in this way, there is no possibility for the likes of Son Goku to beat Broly. Double Kaio-ken ha. At this moment, Broly's low growl resounded. It can be seen that the red-green air began to gradually warm up, and under Broly's control, Kaio-ken successfully completed the display in the form of super transmission mode. This also caused Broly's power to instantly soar to 200 billion, and the whole person stood in the same place, panting constantly, and the consumption was quite huge. But even so, Broly had a smile on his face and murmured, "Success." Finally it worked. Under the excitement, Broly's own chi instantly collapsed, and the whole person fell into a coma at this moment. Seeing this, Bupa's mouth twitched, and he quickly closed the gravity chamber and came to Broly's side. After placing Broly on the ground to rest to ensure that his life was not in danger, Bupa breathed a sigh of relief. Although a bit reluctant, Broly still succeeded, although it was only twice the Kaio-ken of fusion instead of 5 times. But it was enough to increase his strength. Next, even in the face of Son Goku and others, there is a fighting force, even at rushing posture. Thinking of this, the corner of Bupa's mouth rose slightly, and after settling Broly, he turned around and walked out of the gravity training room. Master Bupa. When Bupa walked out of the room, a voice suddenly came. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that number 21 came out of the dark, and at this moment, he stepped into the area in front of Bupa. Number 21 apostrophe. Looking at number 21, Bupa immediately said, "Is something wrong?" "Yes." Nodding his head, number 21 said with a serious face, "Please come with me, my lord. I have plans for Artificial Saiyan to report to you." Artificial Saiyan. Hearing this, Bupa suddenly became interested. He had asked number 21, Buma, and others to discuss this Artificial Saiyan plan. Could it have come to fruition so soon? Thinking of this, Bupa didn't hesitate, and immediately followed number 21 towards the room not far away. After entering the room, Bupa looked towards road number 21. Number 21, how is the Artificial Saiyan plan prepared? It's almost there. With a slight smile, number 21 stepped forward, and when he reached the area next to Bupa, he suddenly took off his white coat. For a time, the beautiful figure of number 21 emerged, stepped forward and hugged Bupa. Immediately afterwards, number 21 stepped forward and said, "My lord, I will give you a plan now." With that said, the action started on the 21st. Seeing this situation, the corner of Bupa's mouth twitched, never expecting that the so-called report on the 21st would actually be this. But don't mention it. Number 21's figure and appearance are really nothing to say, and because of the ice, the whole person is obviously active and jerky at the moment. For a while, Bupa didn't refuse anything, and just let the 21st start to act. It was well into the night before the battle between Bupa and number 21 ended. Glancing at number 21 next to him, Bupa slowly sat up and murmured, "I want to get the ownership of Cell 99. The Lazuli did nothing, and I chose to give them the ownership of the cell because of their loyalty to me. 5. Although you are loyal to me, your loyalty has not reached the level comparable to theirs." Loyalty. Slightly stunned, number 21 was dumbfounded. Unexpectedly, the reason for this is actually like this. Thinking of her previous deeds, number 21's pretty face blushed slightly, but at the same time she seemed to be determined. Immediately afterwards, number 21 stepped forward and said, "Then if my loyalty is enough, can I also devour that cell?" After speaking, number 21 stared straight at Bupa, his eyes full of anticipation. Sure. Glancing at number 21, Bupa understood what the latter was referring to. But if number 21's loyalty is enough, it's nothing to devour Cell to her. Anyway, it's him Bupa who ultimately benefits. It is good. After getting the answer, number 21 looked solemn at the moment, leaned forward and said, "Then I will be your woman from now on. You have to protect me." Ding. The loyalty of the bound character reaches 90, and the tenfold return ability is activated. Ding. Test number 21 has the survivability of the universe, and it will be returned 10 times. Congratulations to the host for mastering the survivability of the high-level universe. In the next second, Bupa felt a shock all over his body, and the power of the system began to transform itself. Under this power, Bupa already has the ability to survive the universe, and even if he enters the universe in the future, he will be able to survive without being obliterated by the vacuum universe. Very well. 99. Opening his eyes, Bupa turned his head and glanced at number 21, the corners of his mouth raised and said, "If that's the case, then I'll hand it over to you after I take down the cell. Are you sure you'll devour it?" "Certainly." Hearing this, number 21 was overjoyed. She did so much for these words of Bupa. Now that the latter agreed to give the cell to himself to devour himself, number 21 dared to neglect him, and said quickly, "As long as I swallow the cell, then I can evolve into a true ultimate body, and my potential even surpasses that of the cell." "It is good." Nodding, Bupa stretched out his hand and raised number 21's chin, and the corners of his mouth raised. "So, should you answer me properly?" Hearing this, the corners of number 21's mouth also rose slightly, understanding what Bupa was referring to, and immediately lowered his head and started to act. Time flies. 2 days have passed in the blink of an eye. In the early morning of the 3rd day, Bupa walked out of the factory from the residence of number 21. He floated to the place where the spiritual fruit tree was, and it could be seen that the entire spiritual fruit tree had been connected to the sky, and the spiritual fruit on it had begun to ripen. 80% of the entire Earth has been deserted in just 7 days. Under such circumstances, the entire Earth is already in danger, and in 2 or 3 days, the spiritual fruit tree will completely absorb the vitality of the entire Earth, and the Earth will collapse along with it. Master Bupa. Seeing Bupa's arrival, the number 16 and Lazuli brothers and sisters who were guarding here immediately flew forward, bowed and saluted. "Sir, the time has come. When do we start?" Chapter 57. The 7-Day Covenant arrives, receiving spiritual fruits. Almost with a wave of his hand, Bupa glanced around indifferently, and then said, "Pick all the ripe spiritual fruits from this tree for me. Except for the top ones, there is no need for the rest to continue absorbing life force." 35. Yes, yes. With a promise, the Lazuli siblings and number 16 looked at each other and immediately started to act. It can be seen that each spiritual fruit has been picked and put into the universal capsule for storage. Each of these fruits can enhance the combat power of about 10,000, especially the spiritual fruits in the top area. Each one can even increase a person's combat power by about 500,000. Although this improvement is now considered too little for Bupa, Bupa will not give up anything. Add up, as long as the artificial Saiyan is created. These fruits can continuously strengthen it, thereby greatly improving Bupa's strength. Looking at the actions of the Lazuli and the 3, Bupa no longer hesitated, and as soon as his mind moved, he pulled a huge island hundreds of nautical miles away to the outside of the spiritual fruit tree. Immediately afterwards, Bupa raised his hand and countless Kaigong bombs swept out, directly blowing the island into a platform. A huge ring emerged, enough for Son Goku and the others to fight with Broly next. SHHH, SHHH. At this time, the sound of breaking the sky resounded from the sky far away. Following the sound, I could see the 4 figures of Son Goku, Son Gohan, Vegeta and Trunks hurriedly approaching. In the area behind the 4, there are Piccolo, Shenhen, Kling and others followed closely. However, except for Son Goku and others, Piccolo and others are almost all soy saucers. and there is no possibility of taking the stage and participating in the war without the power to fight. Finally come. Seeing this, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he immediately stopped what he was doing. He took out the communicator and asked Broly number 21 to come here. After a while, the figures of Son Goku and the others came in a hurry and successfully reached the range of the arena. After their stature stabilized, their eyes also looked at the spiritual fruit tree for the first time. What a terrible spiritual fruit tree. Is it that it absorbs 80% of the Earth's life? Muttering in the mouth, Son Goku and the others looked serious, and their eyes were full of solemn expressions. If they can't wait to destroy it completely now. But reality is cruel. Bupa is here now, and they don't dare to act rashly. Once they act, Bupa is bound to take advantage of the theme, and then everything that was originally agreed will be broken. Bupa, taking a step forward, Son Goku scolded, "Let Broly come out. Today we will definitely beat him." 39. Earth's crisis is imminent. Son Goku et al. Can't wait to beat Broly in their hearts. Only by defeating Broly, Bupa will take away the spiritual fruit tree, and the Earth will be able to preserve the only vitality. As long as the Earth doesn't explode and die completely, it can be restored with the power of the Dragon Ball. On the contrary, if it continues to be delayed, as the vitality of the Earth is continuously absorbed by the spiritual fruit tree, the consequences are absolutely unimaginable. No problem. With an indifferent smile, Bupa glanced at the four of Son Goku, and then said, "I've already had someone call Broly here. You just have to wait." 99. Saying that, Bupa secretly gave the system an order, check the information of the four Son Goku. 5. In the next second, the information of the four Son Goku appeared. Son Goku, race, Saiyan, bloodline, inferior bloodline, combat strength, 500 million, transformation, Super Saiyan 2, ability, Kaio-ken, Kamehameha wave, spirit bomb, Son Gohan, race, hybrid Saiyan, combat strength, 700 million, transformation, Super Saiyan Kaio 2, ability, Kamehameha wave, magic flash, flying technique, Vegeta, race, Saiyan, bloodline, royal family, combat strength, 600 million, transformation, Super Saiyan, full power, ability, Prince Warfare, final flash, artificial moon, Trunks, race, hybrid Saiyan, combat power, 580 million, transformation, Super Saiyan, full power, ability, Prince tactics, final flash, Kamehameha wave. The improvement is not bad. In 7 days, he has improved so much combat power. He is indeed a Z warrior. After reading the personal information of the four, Bupa's eyes flashed with surprise. Son Goku et al.'s speed of improvement is so fast that they are completely open. However, with their current combat power, they are obviously not Broly's opponents, and they don't know what their whole cards are. Big brother. 35. At this time, there was a sound. Looking at the sound, Broly can be seen galloping fast. In the area not far behind him, number 21 hurried with Buma. It's just that the speed of number 21 and Buma is not as fast as Broly, and it is obviously intentional to control the distance between the two sides. Coming. Seeing this, Bupa nodded with satisfaction, looked at Broly and said, "Broly, are you sure about the next battle?" "Certainly." Nodding heavily, Broly said with a firm look, "Brother, don't worry, this time I will definitely win." 39. Hearing this, Bupa also smiled. With Son Goku and others as sparring partners, Broly's strength will surely continue to improve rapidly. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately waved his hand and said, "If so, then prepare to enter. Whoever wins and who loses depends on your own abilities and efforts." "Yes." 39. With a promise, Broly's eyes flashed with fighting intent, and he entered the ring with a flick of his body. Immediately afterwards, his eyes swept across the four of Son Goku in the arena and said, "Which one of you will come first?" Hearing this, the four of Son Goku looked solemn. They can also feel that Broly at the moment is much stronger than before. After looking at each other, Son Goku spoke first, "Then let me come first." 5. Gohan, you look first. Look for his flaws. "Yes, Dad." 9. With a promise, Son Gohan looked serious. He understands what Son Goku is referring to. Son Gohan is the strongest among the four. In addition, Son Goku is the only one who has completed the transformation of Super Saiyan 2, so he has the possibility to compete with Broly. Chapter 58. Son Goku loses. Son Gohan vs Broly. Kakarot. Seeing Son Goku appear, a chill flashed across Broly's eyes. Although defeating it twice before has made Broly no longer moved by things as a child, but there is no denying that Son Goku ranks second only to Bupa in his mind. It's just that he has allegiance and recognition of Bupa, for Son Goku is more war and murder. In just an instant, Broly directly entered a state of anger. The whole body reached more than 3 meters, and the grass-green energy spewed along with it. What a powerful force. Feeling the aura emanating from Broly's body, Son Goku's expression condensed, and a dignified flashed in his eyes. In the past 2 days, Broly's combat power has been improved again, from the original 100 million to 120 million. Under the blessing of the angry state, Broly's combat power has directly reached 1.2 billion. which is completely unmatched by the normal Son Goku. With a low growl, Son Goku was not afraid, and stepped forward directly into the Super Saiyan form. In an instant, Son Goku completed the full power transformation of Super Saiyan, and his chi reached the level of 40 billion. With a bang, Son Goku stepped on the ground and rushed forward without hesitation to attack Broly. Good coming. 35. Seeing this situation, Broly laughed and entered the super competition mode with a thought, and the anger of the whole person reached 60 billion. Although the super mode is past, Broly does not use it. Just like Son Goku didn't cast his Super Saiyan 2 transformation. In the next second, the two figures collided with each other on the ring. Bang bang bang. The sound of the explosion resounded. Son Goku and Broly's fists kept swinging, and the fist-to-meat attack hit each other. In just a few dozen breaths, the two sides have fought hundreds of times, and overall Son Goku is obviously in a suppressed state. The difference in strength between the two is a full 20 billion, and even if Son Goku goes all out, Broly can't help it. As the battle continued to heat up, Broly became more and more brave, and his combat power continued to increase with the passage of time. On the other hand, Son Goku was obviously overwhelmed, his whole body was panting, and there were scars all over his body. Broly's advantage is extremely obvious, while Son Goku sees that he is becoming less and less resistant, and his mouth immediately bursts with a drink. Ha! The next second, Son Goku jumped with lightning all over his body, and immediately entered the form of Super Saiyan 2. In an instant, Son Goku's chi surged to more than 50 billion. But that's all, he still can't help Broly, although he has won some initiative for himself. But as time passed, Son Goku's defeat became more and more obvious, and even his injuries became more intense. Kakarot, give me defeat. At this time, Broly's loud shout resounded, showing that the muscles on his body suddenly grew. Broly successfully completed the second stage of Super Saiyan, and his strength has also increased. The next second, Broly threw a punch, so fast that Son Goku didn't even react, and the punch hit him in the face. What? With a scream, Son Goku was directly shot and flew out, blood spurted out of his mouth, and his whole body fell to the ground to create a gap. Dad, Kakarot, Uncle Goku. This scene instantly shocked Son Gohan, Vegeta and others. Without caring about anything else, the three quickly entered the battlefield, shaking their bodies, and hurriedly arrived at Son Goku. It can be seen that Son Goku is lying on the ground and vomiting blood constantly, his breath is sluggish, and he looks extremely weak. Dad. Without caring about anything else, Son Gohan quickly took out a fairy bin and fed it to Son Goku. Grumbling. Son Goku's body was shaken when Xiandu swallowed, and his injuries quickly recovered as before. Immediately afterwards, Son Goku stood up from the ground with a carp kick and looked at Son Gohan embarrassedly. Gohan is sorry, I'm not his opponent. 35. It's okay, Dad. Hearing this, Son Gohan said solemnly, it's up to me next. I will definitely test out his full strength. After speaking, Son Gohan took a deep breath, jumped into the arena, looked at Broly and said, Broly, I will be your opponent next. 99. Saying that, Son Gohan clenched his fists tightly and exclaimed, ha! In the next second, lightning jumped, and Son Gohan directly transformed into the form of Super Saiyan 2. It is also possible that the chi around Son Gohan's body increased rapidly, and it was interrupted by 70 billion in just a few breaths. 0. Ask for flowers 0. After finishing all this, Son Gohan raised his hand, and countless Kaigong bullets attacked Broly. Good come. Broly was not afraid of this, and raised his hand to control the Kaigong bomb to fly out. The next second, the two Kaigong bombs collided in midair. Rumbling, rumbling, the deafening roar not only sounded, but Son Gohan and Broly's combat power was not much different at the moment. This also led to their Kaigong bombs being almost evenly matched. The two sides continued to consume, and there was no intention of close combat. What's the situation? Is Son Gohan consuming Broly? 0. Seeing this scene, Bupa raised his eyebrows, revealing a hint of surprise in his eyes. After all, in terms of the combat power of Son Goku and others, Son Gohan's combat power is definitely the highest existence. But now he is not thinking about how to defeat Broly, instead he is constantly using Kaigong bullets to consume Broly, which is a bit unbelievable. Master Bupa. At this time, the Lazuli siblings and the figure of number 16 hurried to Bupa's side. Immediately afterwards, the three took out the all-purpose capsule containing spiritual fruits from their arms and handed them out. All the ripe fruits have been picked. 99. Nodding his head, Bupa stretched out his hand to take the universal capsule, still staring at the area in the arena, thinking about Son Goku and others' plans. After all, from the current situation, Son Gohan is obviously a self-defeating play. Even Son Goku was considered self-defeating before, meaning nothing other than consuming Broly chi. But they still enjoyed it, which had to make Bupa suspect, and even Lazuli and others saw something wrong. Master Bupa. At this time, number 16 suddenly said, according to the test, the four Son Goku are not afraid at all, but rather excited. 39. Especially Son Gohan's mood is clearly in a high stage at the moment, without any tension. Man made as a robot. Number 16 has absolute sanity, and it is not an exaggeration to be called an intellectual brain. So it is possible to accurately read the expressions and subtle changes of the faces of the four Son Goku 7. Chapter 59 Son Gohan loses, Vegeta Trunks play. Interesting. With the corners of his mouth up, Bupa glanced at Son Gohan and the others in the arena, and then slowly said, although I don't know what their purpose is, but if you think that you can win by consuming Broly's gas, you are wrong. On the 16th, you turned on the bioscan to show me if there was any other life around. 35. The battle has already started, so Cell should have been unable to stand it any longer. Yes. With a promise, number 16 did not hesitate immediately, and quickly turned on the biometric scan and began to search around. Not only him, but also the Lazuli siblings and number 21 were all excited at the moment. So, this is definitely an opportunity for them to go further. For a time, the Lazuli siblings and number 21 also began to look around carefully and began to look for the traces of Cell. Kill. 013 kill. At this time, the low roars of Son Gohan and Broly resounded in the battlefield. It can be seen that Broly took the lead in launching the attack, and the whole person rushed out, directly hitting the Kaigong bomb thrown by Son Gohan. In just a few breaths, Broly arrived at the area in front of Son Gohan. Without the slightest hesitation, Broly punched Son Gohan in the face. Good come. Seeing this situation, Son Gohan stopped choosing Kaigong bombs, took a deep breath and immediately raised his hand to fight back. In an instant, the two figures fought fiercely in the arena. Bang bang bang, bang bang bang. The sound of punching to the flesh kept resounding. Broly and Son Gohan attacked each other frantically, only attacking and not defending, a deadly posture. As time passed, Broly became more and more brave, and Son Gohan's injuries became more and more intense. Although the combat power of the two is almost the same, but Broly is a super bloodline, whether it is strength, defense or speed is not comparable to Son Gohan. Under such circumstances, Son Gohan's own situation is getting worse. It's now. At this time, Broly suddenly caught a flaw in Son Gohan. It can be seen that he reached out and grabbed Son Gohan's arm. Click. The shattering sound resounded, and Son Gohan's arm snapped instantly. A badge. The screams came out of his mouth, and Son Gohan's eyes instantly flushed red. The pain of the broken arm made him unbearable, and at the same time, the whole person became violent at this moment. In just an instant, Son Gohan's anger increased by billions, and he raised the remaining fist and slammed it into Broly's chest. Puff. Blood spilled from the corners of his mouth. Broly's pupils shrank, and then he burst out laughing. That's it. 99. That's it. 55. This force is interesting, such an attack is interesting. 35. Saying that, Broly, instead of being annoyed, was excited at this moment. The whole person's breath was violent at this moment, and his fists attacked Son Gohan like a storm. A badge. What? For a while, screams resounded continuously. Son Gohan was immediately reduced to a living target at this moment. With only one hand left, he was completely unable to resist. In just a dozen or so breaths, almost all of Son Gohan's bones were broken by Broly. This also caused Son Gohan's screams to become more and more tragic, but his breath continued to soar. Obviously, in such a crisis, Son Gohan's strength increased rapidly, but now his bones were almost broken, and he did not have any resistance. Damn it! It can't go on like this. Seeing this, Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks' faces changed drastically. They could all see how embarrassed Son Gohan was at the moment. If he didn't come to the rescue, Son Gohan would surely die. Gohan. With a low growl, Son Goku rushed out and attacked Broly. The next second, Son Goku appeared next to Broly and smashed him with a punch, directly knocking Broly back a distance. After all this was done, Son Goku quickly picked up Son Gohan with broken bones, and said with a distressed face, Gohan, you can still hold on. 99. Dad. Hearing this, Son Gohan opened his mouth and gradually regained his senses, but the pain also distorted his face, and the pain was endless. Kakarot, wait for Son Gohan to go down. Seeing this, Vegeta immediately said, the next battle is left to me. It is good. Agreed. Son Goku did not refuse, picked up the dying Son Gohan and hurried back to the area where Piccolo was. Gohan. At this time, Piccolo quickly stepped forward and quickly took out a fairy bin to feed Son Gohan. Gyudu. Son Gohan's injuries recovered quickly, and the whole person was also out of danger. At this point, Son Goku and Piccolo breathed a sigh of relief. Broly. My next opponent is me. 55. At this time, Vegeta's eyes were locked on Broly, and the whole person said arrogantly, Vegeta. There was a flash of light in Broly's eyes, and a trace of disdain flashed in Broly's eyes. Just because you are not my opponent. Your strength is not as good as Son Goku, you can't shake me at all, give it up. 35. Having said that, Broly looked at Son Goku and Son Gohan not far away and said, Kakarot, take your son with you. Only the two of you can be my opponent if you join forces. Damn. Hearing this, Vegeta's face was as cold as frost. Broly's words made it clear that he looked down on Vegeta. He is the dignified Prince Saiyan, how can he accept such an insult? Dad. At this time, Trunks stepped forward, and when he reached Vegeta, he said, let's go up together. 39. It's just our current strength, and fighting alone is not Broly's match. Hearing this, Vegeta's mouth twitched, but she didn't refute. As Trunks said, he has not even finished Super Saiyan 2, so he can't be Broly's opponent by himself. After taking a deep breath, Vegeta turned to look at Bupa not far away and said, 0.7 Bupa, I originally planned to keep the means to deal with you. But for now, let's try Broly first. Trunks, get ready. Okay, Dad. Hearing this, Trunks was overjoyed, and hurriedly walked to the area beside Vegeta and began to mobilize his chi. And Vegeta didn't hesitate, controlling her own chi and Trunks to the point where it was almost the same. Immediately after, Vegeta and Trunks begin to perform weird dance moves. This is fusion. Seeing this scene, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he immediately understood what Vegeta just said. At the same time, there was a flash of anticipation in Bupa's eyes, and he murmured, so this is your trump card. Fusion. Although not the fusion of Son Goku and Vegeta, but the fusion of Vegeta and Trunks is indeed not to be underestimated. 59. Chapter 60 Z Warrior Card, Fusion Warrior Beggis. At this moment, Bupa understood why Son Goku and Son Gohan had been thinking about consuming Broly's Kai before. Authoring their trump card is fusion. With the existence of fairy beans, as long as Broly's chi is consumed, the possibility of winning after their fusion will be even greater. Fusion, fusion. At this moment, the voices of Vegeta and Trunks resounded in the arena. The next second, the two fingers touched together. Accompanied by a bright white light, it can be seen that the figures of Vegeta and Trunks disappeared, and a brand new character appeared in the ring instead. What is that? 2 into 1? 6699. This scene immediately caused everyone present to exclaim. Piccolo and others are okay. After all, they knew about fusion before. But number 16, Lazuli siblings, number 21 and others were all surprised, even a little unbelievable. You know, Vegeta and Trunks are not cyborgs. How did they achieve such fusion? The most important thing is that the existence after fusion is extremely terrifying, and it is simply different from the previous one. Who are you? 20. Broly was also startled, and looked at the figure in front of him with a little horror, and his heart was full of horror. I'm not Vegeta. I'm not a Trunks either. I'm the one to beat you. My name is Beggis. 55. Facing the question, Beggis raised his head and looked at Broly proudly. The breath all over his body was extremely violent at this moment. Beggis, after muttering thoughtfully, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he immediately said, System, check Beggis information. The next second, the Beggis message appeared in front of Bupa's eyes. Beggis, race, combined Saiyan, bloodline, royal family, combat strength, 2.2 billion, transformation, Super Saiyan 2, ability, Prince Tactics, Kamehameha Wave, Final Flash, Artificial Moon, 2.2 billion combat power, almost twice as much as the two combined. After reading Beggis' message, Bupa's pupils shrank, and there was a hint of horror in his eyes. Bupa has always known that the strongest single fighter in Dragon Ball is not Son Goku, Vegeta, nor Broly, but a combined fighter. But he never imagined that the increase of this integrated warrior would be so terrifying. The two people's basic combat power is combined and doubled, and the horror of this power is simply unbelievable. Involuntarily, an idea came to Bupa's mind. What would happen if he got a fusion warrior cell for the cultivation of artificial Saiyan? Thinking of this, Bupa's eyes on Beggis instantly became hot. Artificial Saiyan is dominated by cells, and the cells of the fusion warrior are obviously stronger than ordinary Saiyan. Even in a sense, it is more powerful than the super cell. After all, Chuan Chao's bloodline will run wild if he is not careful, but the cells of the integrated warrior are extremely peaceful. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately turned his head to look at number 21 and said, Number 21, bring some blood vessels here. I'm going to collect the blood and cells of that fused warrior Beggis. Yes. With a promise, number 21 did not dare to neglect, and immediately turned around and galloped away in the direction of the laboratory behind Master Bupa. At this time, the Lazuli siblings stepped forward and asked curiously, can this integrated warrior be Broly's opponent? For Broly, the two also know its terrifying combat power. Now that Vegeta and Trunks fusion are Beggis, they don't feel like Broly in the slightest, and are even significantly stronger. But it is not easy for Lazuli sisters and brothers to say such words directly. After all, Broly is Bupa's younger brother. No need to worry. Looking at the Lazuli brothers and sisters, Bupa didn't know what the two of them were thinking. But Bupa didn't care, and said indifferently, although Beggis is indeed powerful, he is not Broly's opponent. The only hope of beating Broly is after Sun Wu and his son Son Gohan fusion. Hearing this, Lazuli and Lapis both breathed a sigh of relief. But then, the emotions of the two also became tense. If Son Goku and Son Gohan fusion can beat Broly later on, doesn't that mean this is a failure? However, they don't know that Bupa doesn't care about the so-called victory or defeat. Whether it's Son Goku, Vegeta, Son Gohan or Trunks are just the whetstones he's looking for Broly. The stronger Son Goku and others are, the faster they can stimulate Broly to become stronger, and the corresponding Bupa can also be stronger. Beat me? It's up to you. Inside the battlefield, Broly glanced at Beggis, and then said proudly, "In this world, apart from my eldest brother, no one can beat me. What about fusion? Even a combined warrior is still no match for me." Insanity. Hearing this, Beggis' eyes flashed with anger for the latter's underestimating his attitude. His heart was filled with endless anger and murderous intent. Immediately afterwards, Beggis no longer hesitated, and stepped forward with a single step. Ha! With a low growl, golden air spewed out, and Beggis entered the Super Saiyan form directly. In an instant, Beggis Chi reached the stage of 110 billion. After all this was done, Bo-1 no longer hesitated, and stomped on the ground and rushed towards Broly. The next second, Beggis appeared in front of Broly, punching straight to its vital point. Not good. So fast. His pupils shrank, and Broly felt a little stunned at the moment, and quickly raised his hand to block. With a bang, Beggis' fist slammed into Broly's arm. In the next second, Broly was directly knocked out and smashed to the ground. At this moment, the entire arena burst into a huge pit. What a powerful force. What a terrifying combat power. This scene directly made Piccolo and others in the distance exclaimed. Immediately afterwards, the eyes of each of them were also hot, and their fists were clenched. There is hope. 5. Beggis really has hope of beating Broly. 95. It's great that Vegeta and the Trunks fusion are so powerful. The Earth is saved. Broly is definitely no match for Beggis. 6699. Compared to the excitement of Piccolo and others, Son Goku and Son Gohan frowned and looked serious at the moment. They could all see that Broly had not used his full strength, and that the Super Transfer mode was Broly's limit. Moreover, the Super mode is enhanced by 100 times the combat power, which is not comparable to the Super Competition mode. Chapter 61 Super 2 Beggis. Broly's Kaio-ken. Ha! At this moment, Broly's low roar resounded. Looking at the sound, grass green energy rose to the sky, and the entire arena vibrated violently at this moment. Rumbling, rumbling, a steady stream of roars resounded, and the grass green air was raging continuously. Broly, who had completed the Super Transfer mode, slowly flew up from the ruins of the arena. Coming, Broly's Super mode. Seeing this situation, Son Goku and Son Gohan were both refreshed, and their gazes towards Chuan Chao Broly were full of vigilance and fear. In the Super Transfer mode, Broly's combat power has reached more than 120 billion, which has far surpassed the level of Beggis. Years. With a low growl, Broly rushed out and attacked Beggis. Before that, he really put Son Goku and others in his eyes. But the appearance of Beggis also made Broly understand that his opponent should not be underestimated, and at the same time his inner fighting spirit became more and more intense. Broly, seeing this situation, Beggis was not to be outdone, and with a roar in his mouth, he directly attacked. In the next second, the two figures fought each other in the ring. Rumbling, rumbling, the deafening roar resounded, and the fists of both sides swung fists to the flesh to attack each other. As time went on, Broly and Beggis got better at each other, but overall Broly had the upper hand. After all, there is a gap of more than 10 billion combat power. Even if Beggis is a combined warrior, it is difficult to resist. It's done. Broly is going to win. Seeing this situation, Lazuli and others were relieved. Before that, they were all extremely worried about Broly's failure. It now appears that such worries are superfluous. Broly's strength should not be underestimated, and it is by no means comparable to ordinary people. Even a combined warrior is no exception. It's over. 35. Beggis is no match for Broly. On the contrary, the faces of Klein and the others, who were still excited before, turned pale at the moment. Unexpectedly, Broly in Chuan Chao mode was so powerful, and the terrifying aura made them all feel the threat of death. However, at the moment, Son Goku and Son Gohan did not have any fear, but more anticipation. Not for anything else, because they all knew that Beggis had not used his full strength. In such a situation, although Broly is stronger than Beggis, it is not far behind. Once Beggis goes all out, the chances of Broly losing are enormous. Unsurprisingly, Beggis couldn't bear it anymore under the situation of being suppressed one after another. Accompanied by Beggis's loud shouts resounding, it can be seen that the chi around him is violent at this moment. In just a few breaths, Beggis was surrounded by lightning and entered the Super Saiyan 2 form. In an instant, Beggis' chi soared rapidly, directly reaching the level of 220 billion. Under such circumstances, Beggis threw a punch, knocking out Broly in front of him again. After one blow, Beggis burst out laughing, looking at Broly and saying, "Broly, you lost. What about the legendary Super Saiyan? I, Beggis, are the strongest single warrior." As he spoke, Beggis raised his hand, countless Qui-Gon bullets flew out, and the prince launched his tactics to attack the area where Broly was located. Rumbling, rumbling, the sound of explosions resounded continuously, and countless areas of the entire arena burst. The power of terror continued to spread, forcing Son Goku and others to quickly withdraw from the arena. The aftermath of that explosion was too powerful, and it was definitely not something Son Gohan and the others could do now. However, the terrifying aftermath quietly subsided as it approached Bupa. It was impossible to threaten Bupa at all, let alone Lazuli and the others standing behind him. Ho ho! Broly's low growl continued. It can be seen that he is constantly dodging, and the chi in the whole body is rapidly increasing because of anger. But even so, the gap between the two sides is too huge. Rao Shichuan surpassed the battle and became more courageous, but it was difficult to make up for the gap between the two sides that was close to 100 billion in combat power in a short period of time. In just a few dozen breaths, Broly was completely embarrassed, and several areas were dripping with blood. Not good. 35. Broly is going to lose. Seeing this situation, Lazuli and others' faces changed greatly. Unexpectedly, this Beggis actually has this hand, surpassing the transformation of Super Saiyan with a 100-fold increase in strength. Broly is simply unable to compete with it. Subconsciously, Lazuli and the others looked at where Bupa was. After all, Broly's current situation, if Bupa doesn't take action, then he is likely to lose, or even be killed by Beggis. However, at the moment, Bupa is also as steady as Mount I, looking at this scene indifferently without any worries at all. Appeal to the society not right. 35. Broly still has a whole card to play. 66.99. This scene directly changed the expressions of Son Goku and the others outside the ring. None of them are stupid. From Bupa's indifferent reaction, it can be seen that Broly is definitely not at his limit. It is precisely because of this that they are more worried in their hearts, and the joy that Beggis had the upper hand also quietly dissipated. Double Kaio-ken. At this time, Broly's low roar resounded again. Crimson chi spewed out, mixed with the grass-green chi around him and began to go berserk. In just a few breaths, the strength of Broly's body reached about 250 billion. Immediately afterwards, Broly raised his hand and easily knocked all the attacking Kaigong bullets into the air. After doing all this, Broly then locked his eyes on Beggis and said with a grin, "Not bad power, but it's still a little short of trying to beat me, Beggis. Now it's my turn." 35. Saying that, Broly stepped out abruptly, the whole person flew out quickly, and the red-green air drew a streamer in the air. Almost instantly, Broly appeared in the area where Beggis was, and punched him in the lower abdomen before he even reacted. The screams resounded. Beggis' body bowed. His mouth was coughing up blood, his eyes were round, and the veins on his forehead were straight. One hit. It was just the power of one blow, but it also caused him to suffer heavy losses. Broly, however, Beggis still endured the pain all over his body, raised his head and fixed his eyes on Broly, raised his fist and smashed his face. Unfortunately, even though Beggis' attack was quick, it didn't make any sense to Broly at the moment. Raising his hand and grabbing Beggis' fist, Broly raised the corners of his mouth and grinned. Such a weak fist cannot pose a threat to people. 99. Saying that, Broly punched Beggis again with a punch. Chapter 62. Beggis loses. Lightning cell appears. The screams resounded again. Beggis' eyes widened, and blood spurted out of his mouth again. The strength of this blow is completely beyond his ability to resist. Not only that, after Broly's punch, Beggis withdrew directly from the Super 2 form. Apparently, even fit warriors. But Vegeta and Trunks combined Beggis also has obvious flaws. And this flaw is extremely huge. Not only is the arrogant character released to the maximum, even its defense is extremely poor. With the same power, even if he was higher than Broly's 100 billion combat power before, he couldn't play Broly out of the Super Transfer mode. On the contrary, now, only 2 punches have withdrawn from the Super 2 form, and there is no comparison at all. Too bad. This is the so-called strongest single warrior. Looking down at Beggis, Broly's eyes were full of disdain. Immediately afterwards, Broly raised his fist and punched Beggis again. A badge. The screams resumed. Beggis' body trembled, and a bright white light could be seen, followed by the figures of Vegeta and Trunks. At this moment, the faces of the two were pale, and the strength of their bodies was weakened to the extreme. Not good. 35. Vegeta 020 exclamation mark 55. Trunks, run away, apostrophe. Seeing this, Son Goku in the distant area hurriedly shouted, "The state of union is broken." It's just that Vegeta and the Trunks are no match for Broly at all. If they continue to linger, it is likely that death awaits them. Waste. However, before Vegeta and Trunks could react, Broly was the first to scold. Immediately afterwards, Broly can be seen reaching out with both hands to grab Vegeta and Trunks. The figure turned, and a huge tornado appeared on the ring. The screams resounded, and Vegeta and Trunks were in agony under Broly's extreme pull. In the next second, Broly's turning figure paused, waving his hands violently. Vegeta and Trunks collided. With a bang, Vegeta and Trunks were bleeding, and they couldn't even make a scream, and the two immediately passed out. After doing all this, Broly threw it to the edge of the ring in the distance, and didn't mean to kill. Immediately after, Broly looked at Son Goku and Son Gohan in midair and said, "Kakarot, come on, with your Sun fusion, let me see how strong you are." Seeing this, Son Goku breathed a sigh of relief. Although Vegeta and Trunks were abused, but fortunately there is no fear of their lives. Immediately afterwards, Son Goku turned his head and said, "Piccolo, you go and bring Vegeta and Trunks out for treatment." 35. Gohan, let's go together. Yes, it is good. With a promise, Son Gohan followed Son Goku and galloped toward the ring again. And Piccolo didn't hesitate to come to Vegeta Trunks in a hurry at this moment. After a simple test, it was confirmed that the two of them were not in danger of their lives. Then he breathed a sigh of relief and took out the fairy beans to feed them. After doing all this, Piccolo left the ring with Vegeta Trunks in a coma. The battle between Beggis and Broly was so terrifying before, and the combination of Son Goku and Son Gohan is bound to be stronger. At that time, the aftermath of the battle will be even more terrifying. So, in order to ensure safety, the two must be moved to an area outside the arena. Vegeta Trunks. At the same time, Bulma's exclamation also resounded. She is also extremely worried about the state of Vegeta Trunks at the moment. After all, one is her husband and the other is her son. Even if this son is from the future, there is no doubt about the blood relationship. Subconsciously, Buma struggled and wanted to go check the situation of the two. You can't leave. However, before Buma took action, a voice resounded first. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that number 21 walked to the area in front of Buma, with the corners of his mouth rising and his eyes full of playfulness. 2 days ago, the 21st and Bupa had a face-to-face communication, and it was clear that the latter had now become a part of Bupa. Therefore, it is naturally impossible for number 21 to watch Bupa leave. She is very clear that Bupa is absolutely not happy. The 21st. Seeing the figure blocking him, Buma's expression changed slightly. Although he was extremely impatient and even angry, Buma knew that he could not break through the blockade on the 21st. After all, number 21 is a powerful android, and she is just an ordinary human being. Master Bupa. At this time, number 16 suddenly said, I found it. Saying that, number 16 pointed to the southeast area and said, on an isolated island 300 nautical miles away, where is the Cell? And it's not just Cell alone, there are 4 other beings with auras that are very similar to him. It seems that they are also artificial humans, and they are also cells, but their power is obviously not as strong as that of Chi itself. Did you find it? With a flash of light in his eyes, Bupa's eyes instantly turned to the southeast area. Immediately afterwards, Bupa was also excited. Lightning Cell appeared. This also means that his previous plan was successful. Now the emergence of Lightning Cell, that is an optimal nutrient. As long as either Lazuli or Lapis devoured it on the 21st, it would be able to enhance at least 60 billion combat power. In the case of 10 times the return, Bupa's combat power can be fully increased by 600 billion. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately ignored the final battle that was about to break out on the field, and immediately said, Lazuli, Lapis, you stay here to protect the spiritual fruit tree. 99. On the 16th, you watch Boomer and don't allow her to leave without permission. Follow me on the 21st, let's meet the Cell. Yes, yes. With a promise, the Lazuli siblings and number 16 all nodded their heads. And the 21st was even more excited at the moment. She understood what Bupa meant by this, that was to deal with the Cell, and handed it over to her to devour. Thinking of this, number 21 also nodded quickly, followed Bupa and jumped up and galloped in the southeast direction. Call out! Call out! In the blink of an eye, Bupa and number 21 disappeared. What's the situation? Then why did Bupa leave? This scene, not far away, Piccolo and others were stunned, their eyes full of puzzlement and doubt. Chapter 63 The Suspended Duel. Broadcast live on the 16th. It's not just Piccolo et al. Who are stunned, including Son Goku and Son Gohan, who just landed on the ring, also looked at each other, their eyes full of doubts and incomprehension. After all, the final battle is imminent. Bupa suddenly left. Is this confidence in Broly, or is it a slight underestimation of the two of them? Hello, Broly. Subconsciously, Son Goku stepped forward and asked, what is Bupa doing? Catch mice. Glancing at Son Goku, Broly said indifferently, in addition to Lazuli, Lapis, 16th and 21st, there is an artificial human on Earth. 99. This android is the ultimate android made by Dr. Ra, and its purpose is to kill you, Kakarot. It's just that the Cell in the current world has already been killed, but there is still a Cell who killed Trunks in the future and came here in a time machine. If nothing else, my eldest brother locked his seat and rushed over without waiting for the battle to end. What? The ultimate android. After hearing Broly's words, the expressions of Son Goku and the others changed drastically. Unexpectedly, this artificial man is not only what he and others know in front of him, but also a more terrifying existence hiding in the dark. Even Bupa had to do it himself, so it can be seen that the final android Cell is definitely an existence that should not be underestimated. No, it's impossible. Suddenly, a roar resounded quietly. Looking at the sound, it can be seen that Vegeta, who has just woken up, can't care about her weakness. She gritted her teeth and said, Trunks is alive, how could he possibly die? 99. As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes subconsciously turned to the big Trunks beside Vegeta, who was still in a coma. Indeed, the latter is obviously alive and well. Why does Broly say that he is dead? Even your final cyborg Cell came by killing Trunks in a time machine. Nothing is impossible. At this time, number 16, who was not far away, said quietly, The Cell who followed the Trunks has been killed. The current Cell comes from the timeline after the Trunks returned to the future world and killed the 17th and 18th. Although it sounds absurd, the existence of a time machine is enough to reasonably explain all this. As soon as these words came out, the audience fell silent. Vegeta opened her mouth several times but couldn't refute it. As number 16 said, no matter how unbelievable, the existence of a time machine was enough to declare the rationality of all this. Kakarot, let's get started. At this time, Broly stepped forward, and the momentum of the whole person pressed towards Son Goku and Son Gohan. Although he had beaten Beggis before, Broly was still not quite happy, and only the combination of Son Goku and Son Gohan was what he was most looking forward to. Wait a minute, Broly. 35. Seeing this, Son Goku hurriedly waved his hand to stop it, and then said, why don't we take a break and wait for Bupa to come back and continue? After all, the bet between us was made by Bupa. If he is not there, even if we defeat you, it is hard to say. Hearing that, Broly stared at Son Goku with anger in his eyes. The latter's words seem reasonable, but it is obviously a posture that will definitely defeat him. How can he accept this? Furious, Broly stepped forward to attack and teach Son Goku a lesson. Broly. 35. Suddenly, not far away, number 16 stopped Broly and said, let's wait. 99. Cell's anger is not easy, and he has a few helpers by his side. If you do it now, if Lord Bupa can't suppress it, the consequences will be unimaginable. Hearing this, Broly frowned. He has absolute confidence in Bupa in his heart, but he doesn't think mere androids can compete with Bupa. But as number 16 said, Cell is not only a person but also a helper, which has to make him afraid of 3 points. After pondering for a while, Broly looked at Son Goku and said, so, just wait for a while. Kakarot, soon you will pay for your arrogant words. After finishing speaking, Broly's thoughts dissipated from Kaio-ken and Chuan Chao mode, and the whole person was a little breathless, and took this opportunity to recover the seriously depleted chi. Woo! Seeing this, Son Goku was also relieved. Broly didn't move on, which made him feel a lot more relieved, and his eyes subconsciously looked towards the southeast area. 0 flowers. Although he can't go to watch the battle, he can lock Bupa's Kai and sense how the battle is going. Old son, what's the situation? Why stop? This is a chance for Broly to recover. At this time, Piccolo stepped forward in a hurry and looked at Son Goku with a somewhat reproachful expression. After all, Broly's strength has improved after the previous battle, but his chi has also been consumed a lot. This is definitely the best time for Son Goku and Son Gohan to beat him. But Son Gohan chose to give up, which made it hard for him to accept. Not only him, but Krillin and others also looked at Son Goku in confusion. Piccolo, don't worry. In this regard, Son Goku waved his hand indifferently, and then said, I already know the limit of Broly. 0.0. My fusion with Gohan will definitely beat him. Just taking this opportunity to see how much Bupa has improved over time. Besides, we also have to figure out the information about that cell. According to what Broly said before, Trunks will die in the hands of each other in the future. Know yourself and know your enemy and win every battle. Only by understanding the situation of Cell can Trunks avoid such an accident after returning. As soon as these words came out, Piccolo couldn't help being silent. Even Vegeta, who was still a little annoyed in the distance, also quieted down. Rather than taking advantage of the danger to defeat Broly, he also understands that the future safety of Trunks is the most important thing. If that's the case, let's take a look together. At this time, number 16's eyes flashed, and he stepped forward and said, although we can't get close, but I can also get the sight of Lord Bupa fighting. Saying that, number 16 threw an all-purpose capsule, and a huge TV screen appeared on the ring. Immediately afterwards, the number 16 data line was connected to his arm, and at the same time, the satellites above the Earth were mobilized to start locking. Soon, the outline of an island appeared on the TV screen. As the picture became clearer, it could be seen that Bupa appeared on the island with number 21. In the area not far in front of him, Cell and 4 small cells stood together, looking at Bupa and number 21-7 who appeared in front of him. Chapter 64, Small Cells. In an instant, Bupa, on the nameless island, Cell glanced at Bupa, who appeared in front of him, in amazement, and his expression instantly became extremely ugly. He didn't notice Bupa's arrival before, which made Cell feel extremely uneasy. Even if Bupa can cover up the breath, it is not easy to hide from the perception of being an artificial human. The only explanation is that Bupa's power is above him, and beyond him by a lot, otherwise it would not have been possible to reach this level. Yo, Cell meets again. In response, Bupa's expression was extremely indifferent. After glancing at Cell, his eyes focused on the 4 little cells in the area behind him, and the corners of his mouth raised. Why, 4 more children have been raised. With a combat power of around 12 billion, it has to be the strength of these 4 children of yours. As soon as these words came out, Cell's face was expressionless, while Xishaw's 0.23 inches lumen were a little terrified. 12 billion combat power. On the contrary, it was number 21, who couldn't help exclaiming at this moment, and looked at the four little cells with awe and horror. Although she had also felt that little cells' fluctuations were quite powerful before, she had never been able to judge the strength of the latter. But with Bupa's words, number 21 realized that the seemingly unremarkable little cell was definitely a murderous existence. In addition to Bupa, Broly, Son Goku and other Saiyans, even the Lazuli siblings who have evolved into semi-perfect bodies are not their opponents. For a time, number 21's breathing was short, and his eyes were hot at this moment. Lord Bupa, please also keep those four little guys. They are of great value, and they are extremely research-based, and maybe from them, the technology of artificial Saiyan can be completely understood. Hearing this, Bupa's eyes flashed. He couldn't tell whether number 21's words were true or false, but he also understood that number 21 wanted to devour the four little cells together. But Bupa did not refuse anything at the moment. As long as there was an acceleration of the artificial Saiyan plan, he would not give up. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately disappeared from the spot. The next second, Bupa's figure appeared in the area where the four small cells were. Bang bang bang. With one punch and one punch, Bupa directly crippled the four little cells with a combat power of 12 billion. Screaming constantly, the four little cells lay on the ground, covering their stomachs and rolling back and forth, looking extremely embarrassed. Bupa, seeing this, Cell's eyes burst with anger, and the whole person attacked Bupa in an instant. Crackling. Lightning beat, and Cell's figure silently came to the area beside Bupa. A punch hits directly at Bupa's heart, ready to kill in one hit. That's it. In response, Bupa flashed a trace of disdain in his eyes, and did not activate any Super Saiyan transformation, and immediately activated Kaio-ken 10 times as soon as his mind moved. With a burst of crimson air swept out, with the blessing of 10 times Kaio-ken, Bupa's combat power directly reached about 230 billion. Immediately afterwards, Bupa raised his hand to block Cell's attack directly, and then patted his hand. Who gave you the courage to shoot at me? 99. Cell, have you forgotten the sight of the fragment that was achieved by me before? Snapped. A slap slapped Cell's face, and Cell instantly turned 720 degrees in midair, then flew out and smashed into a mountain. With a bang, the mountain bag exploded and countless rubble splashed and buried the Cell. So strong. 39. What a terrible power. 35. In this scene, the four little cells on the ground were stunned, and their eyes were full of incredible colors. In their minds, Cell is already the most powerful existence. Unexpectedly, the latter can't even take a slap from Bupa, which is a great irony. So strong. Is this the power of Bupa? Just the increase of Kaio-ken, how can it be so powerful? 66.99. At the same time, Son Goku and others in the arena 300 miles away also exclaimed. Looking at the picture broadcast on the TV in front of them, all of them were shocked, including Broly as no exception. He could feel that even if he doubled the Kaio-ken super transfer mode, it would be almost the same as Bupa in the current Kaio-ken form. And all this is still under the circumstance that Bupa has not activated the Super Saiyan transformation. Once he activates the Super Saiyan transformation, the strength of Bupa is definitely beyond his reach. Big brother. Subconsciously, clenching his fists, Broly remembered the understatement when Bupa was training himself some time ago, and murmured, "Is this the real strength? It's really improving quickly, but I won't give up. 0 degrees. Brother, I will definitely catch up with your strength as quickly as possible." Conversely, Lazuli now looked at Bupa adoringly. The domineering figure that destroys the dead is full of strong excitement for Lazuli at this moment. Buma, including the rear area, also looked complicated. The stronger Bupa is, the more she has no chance to escape and no chance to reunite with her family. But for some unknown reason, Buma was quietly relieved at the moment, and there was even a little cosmic joy. Impossible. It's absolutely impossible. Just with Kaio-ken's blessing, how could Bupa's combat power be stronger than Beggis? At this moment, the exclamations of Vegeta and Trunks resounded not far away. The two stared at Bupa with Kaio-ken on the screen, their eyes full of horror and disbelief. The strength of Kaio-ken's increase was only 10 times higher, but Bupa's combat power reached a terrifying 200 billion. This also means that even without the blessing of Kaio-ken, Bupa's basic combat power is more than 20 billion. This is simply too much for Vegeta to accept. After all, they not only drank the super divine water before, they even practiced in the time house for 2 years, but their basic combat power was only 500 to 600 million. Comparing each other, the two sides do not have any comparability of 0.7 at all, and they are not even at the same level. But when they faced Bupa in the past, they could almost conclude that the latter was not much stronger than themselves. In just a few days, how could Bupa increase his combat power so much? Lapis. At this moment, Lazuli looked at Bupa's devastated appearance, suddenly seemed to think of something, turned his head suddenly and said, "Go over immediately and bring back 2 little cells. If you don't go, the little cell will be completely cheaper than the guy on the 21st. It is good." Hearing this, Lapis nodded immediately. Although little cell was instantly killed by Bupa, he still remembers what Bupa just said. Those unremarkable little guys, each with a combat power of 12 billion, is not only a hope for the Lazuli siblings to improve their combat power, but also an opportunity to evolve into a complete body. Chapter 65 Super Competition Bupa Sha Cell. Cell wants to surrender. Immediately afterward, Lapis quickly left the arena and swept toward the island 300 miles away. There is no doubt about the value of small cells. For the Lazuli brothers and sisters, this is definitely an opportunity to evolve into a complete body, so they must not miss it. Even if they can't devour the lightning cell, the existence of this little cell is undoubtedly enough for them to evolve. Bupa. At this moment, Cell's furious low roar resounded across the island. In the next second, lightning jumped, and it could be seen that a thunderbolt fell from the sky and hit Cell. Immediately afterwards, Cell's chi began to grow rapidly as if a valve had been opened. 80 billion, 100 billion, 150 billion, 200 billion, 280 billion, 320 billion. After reaching the 320 billion level, the lightning cell's chi stopped growing just now. The whole person walked out of the ruins, and the terrifying chi shook, and even the earth trembled. 32001Z. Raising his brows, Bupa's eyes showed a hint of surprise. He really didn't think about it. This lightning cell suddenly became so much stronger. Even in the original book, his highest combat power was only 60 billion. Why has 20 improved so much now? Subconsciously, Bupa said, "System, check cell's information." The next second, the cell information appeared in front of his eyes. Cell, race, ultimate humanoid, combat power, 60 billion. Transformation, lightning form, ability, Kamamiya wave, instant transmission, magic flash, final flash. Quadruple increase. After reading the cell information, Bupa suddenly realized lightning form. In this state, Cell's combat power has increased by 4 times. No wonder it can reach such a level. Bupa, die. At this moment, Cell's low roar resounded. It can be seen that his figure came to the area in front of Bupa in a flash, and he punched directly on his body. With a loud bang, Bupa groaned, and the whole person was instantly knocked back a distance. When his body stabilized, Bupa shook his numb arm, raised his head and said, "Yes, yes." 39. Cell, I have to admit that your combat power is outstanding this time. After evolving into the ultimate humanoid, the combat power has actually reached 320 billion. But it's a pity, just like this, it doesn't help me. With that said, Bupa immediately dissipated Kaio-ken's boost, and after returning to normal, Bupa launched a super transformation without hesitation. Ha! With a low growl, Bupa immediately transformed into Super Saiyan. At this moment, Bupa's chi rapidly soared, and the 50-fold increase in combat power directly brought his combat power to the stage of 1.1 trillion. The terrifying coercion swept out at this moment. Thump, thump. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that the 4 little cells and number 21 are all falling to the ground at this moment, completely unable to withstand the terrifying pressure of Bupa. Including Cell himself is also constantly retreating, and the muscles around his body are shaking, which is derived from instinctual fear. So strong, it's terrifying. This scene immediately made Son Goku and others in the arena 300 miles away exclaimed. Everyone could clearly feel the terror of Bupa's chi, and at the same time, their inner hope also sank to the bottom. Including Son Goku and Son Gohan is no exception. I thought that the fighters after the fusion of the two were enough to defeat Broly, and even had the possibility of fighting against Bupa to save Buma. But as the power of Bupa swept out this time, they also understood a thing. That is, even defeating Broly to protect the Earth, but it cannot save Buma from Bupa's hands. Thinking of this, Son Goku and the others subconsciously looked at where Buma was, their eyes filled with guilt. Especially Vegeta. He knew better what the current situation represented, and clenched his fists and muttered, 2 lakhs. I'm too weak. 35. Why so weak? 35. On the contrary, Lazuli, number 16, Broly and others were overjoyed at the moment, looking at Bupa on the screen in surprise, their eyes full of admiration and yearning. The combat power that almost crushes everything is the existence they pursue, yearn for and recognize. Impossible. How can your power reach such a level? 5. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. On the contrary, the lightning cell is now roaring with a ghastly face. A pair of eyes stared at Bupa, eyes full of jealousy and fear. Unexpectedly, the gap between the two sides would be so huge, and he could not even see any possibility of his own life. Subconsciously, Lightning Cell pulled back and wanted to escape. Bupa is too strong. Horrible. This is definitely not something he can match at this stage. Only by escaping from Earth and heading to Universe can he have the chance and possibility to survive. Want to escape? Do you think I am a decoration? Seeing this, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he immediately said, Cell, I won't let you escape this time. As he spoke, Bupa shook his body, and he reached Cell's place after he arrived first. He reached out with one hand and restrained the latter's neck. With a slight force, the Cell was lifted up by Bupa. His left hand clenched his fist and attacked violently, instantly piercing Lightning Cell's lower abdomen. 023A. With a scream, Lightning Cell's eyes widened, staring at Bupa's eyes full of fear and fear. Under the threat of death, Lightning Cell didn't care about anything else, and hurriedly asked for mercy. Spare me. Bupa, I'm willing to surrender to you, and please spare my life. Ding. Check if someone declares allegiance to the host. Is it bound? At this time, the system prompt sounded quietly. Allegiance to me? Raising his brows, Bupa's eyes flashed with surprise. Unexpectedly, this lightning cell would surrender. No binding. But soon, Bupa calmed down and refused without hesitation. Sorry, you surrendered too late. The androids under my command are enough, and you have no value. 99. Although Cell has great potential, but his loyalty is obviously not high, and it makes no sense to accept the latter's allegiance. In addition, he does not have the scientific research ability of number 21 and number 16. Instead of taking him under his command, it is better to swallow him up to number 21, thereby greatly improving his combat power. Thinking of this, Bupa didn't waste any time. He punched the cell's heart again, and reached out to find the cell's courtship. Come out. With a low growl, Bupa forcefully pulled the courtship out. Chapter 66 Cell Defeat. 21 Devour Cell. Do not. Seeing that his courtship was taken out by Bupa, Lightning Cell's pupils shrank and his heart was full of fear. He subconsciously reached out and wanted to take back his courtship. Click. Unfortunately, before Cell's arm could touch it, Bupa was the first to cut it off. Ignoring Cell's terrified gaze, Bupa grabbed the courtship and looked at it for a moment. This is your lifeblood. 5. Cell. Live in the underworld with peace of mind. Having said that, Bupa stopped talking nonsense, and the courtship was completely destroyed by a burst of energy in his mind. What? The screams resounded, Cell's body trembled, the courtship shattered, and he directly returned from the lightning form to the complete body. At this moment, the aura of the whole person also wilted to the extreme. Although he has not died, he has no resistance, and because the courtship was destroyed, Cell was unable to transform into lightning form. Master Bupa. At this time, number 21 in the distance shouted in surprise, Cell is dying, give him to me quickly. At this moment, number 21's eyes are full of greed. Cell is at the end of the line, and now is the perfect time for her to devour it. It is good. Hearing this, Bupa's eyes flashed. His mind moved, and a massive chi gushed out to bind Cell without giving him any resistance. After doing all this, Bupa carried Cell to the area beside number 21. Give you. Throwing the cell to number 21, Bupa said indifferently, try to see if it can be swallowed. 35. Thank you Lord Bupa. Hearing that, the 21st was overjoyed, and immediately he no longer hesitated, and quickly reached out to grab Cell. Immediately afterwards, it can be seen that number 21's arm began to melt, and it began to rapidly wrap Cell's body like a liquid. Number 21. 99. At this moment, Cell's face changed greatly, and he said in disbelief, how could you possibly swallow me? Impossible, you can't be so capable. The devouring of number 21 was beyond Cell's expectations, and even his heart was full of disbelief. Nothing is impossible. 35. In this regard, number 21 disagreed, glanced at the dying Cell, and then said, it was indeed impossible to swallow your complete body before. But unfortunately, my research on cells far exceeds Roz. After I got your original cells, I have edited all your programs and information into my body. 39. The current me, in a sense, is another you, and there will be no obstacle to the mutual devotion of self. While speaking, the liquid cells on number 21's arm poured out more, and the cells were completely covered in just a few breaths. Do not. Painful and unwilling wailing resounded, and Cell's body was completely covered. In the next second, Cell's huge body began to shrink rapidly, and then it began to transfer into number 21's body continuously. No. This scene immediately made the 4 little cells beside him terrified, struggling to stand up one by one in an attempt to escape. Even Cell was swallowed, so their fate can be imagined. Kneel down for me. Seeing this, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he stepped out of the imposing pressure and locked on them. Thump, thump. In an instant, the 4 little cells fell to the ground, trembling all over, looking at Bupa full of horror. Master Bupa. At this time, there was a sound. Looking at the sound, I could see that Lapis came in a hurry. After reaching the inside area, he first glanced at number 21 who was digesting the cell, and then looked at the 4 little cells, his eyes flashing with intense heat and greed. Immediately afterwards, Lapis walked to Bupa's side, bowed and said, Sir Chi, please give me and my sister a small cell. They are all complete bodies. As long as they are swallowed, my sister and I can also evolve into complete bodies. Can. Nodding, Bupa waved his breath into ropes and tied the 4 little cells. After doing all this, Bupa threw the 4 little cells to Lapis and said, take them back. When the time comes, let number 21 join a cell program for you and Lazuli, and completely let you evolve into a complete body. Yes. 35. As soon as he agreed, Lapis was overjoyed. He quickly grabbed the 4 small cells, but his eyes were also a little puzzled and asked, Lord Bupa, why do you want to edit the cell program? The whole body cannot be swallowed. Hearing this, Bupa smiled lightly, pointed to number 21 and said, unless you write the cell program in your body like number 21, then you can really swallow it for your own use. 99. If it is not completely swallowed, the small cell is likely to hide in a certain area of your body, waiting for the opportunity to swallow you backwards. I see. After listening to Bupa's story, Lapis was enlightened. Immediately afterwards, his gaze towards number 21 also turned three-pointed. Before, he was quite annoyed that number 21 took away the opportunity to devour Cell, but it seems now if Bupa hadn't let number 21 devour Cell first, he and his sister Lazuli would have been in danger. Immediately, Lapis said, Master Bupa, shall we go back now? Let's go. Nodding his head, Bupa glanced at Lapis indifferently, and then said, number 21 should be in a deep sleep, and it needs to wake up before it can completely devour. But we have no time to waste here. 99. Saying that, Bupa stretched out his hand and picked up number 21 on the ground. Immediately afterwards, Bupa and Lapis turned and flew in the direction of the spiritual fruit tree. Ended. What a horrible android. 55. What a horrible Bupa. 6699. In the arena, Son Goku and the others looked at the figure who had already started to return, and a strong unease and worry appeared on everyone's face at the moment. The power of that cell is 320 billion. But in the face of super competition Bupa, they are also younger brothers, and they have no resistance at all. This also means that Bupa's strength is invincible, and in this case Son Goku and others have no certainty. Especially the sight of number 21 swallowing the cell made Son Goku and others uneasy to the extreme. Artificial humans still have the ability to devour each other and evolve. Wouldn't it be possible to catch up with themselves and others soon? For a time, Son Goku, Son Gohan and others all looked solemn, their fists clenched, and their hearts were full of longing, yearning and fighting spirit. Success. I didn't expect that the 21st still had a hand. Conversely, Lazuli and 16 looked complicated at the moment. To be honest, I am quite disgusted and depressed about the behavior of the 21st. Chapter 67 Final Battle, Fusion Warrior, Kakaro Rice. For nothing else, because if Bupa hadn't let number 21 devour Cell this time, number 21 would probably not have told the secret. This also means that whether it is Lazuli or Lapis, once they rush to devour Cell, there is even a risk of being devoured by it. Call out! Call out! The sound of breaking through the air resounded, and Bupa and Lapis returned to the ring with number 21 and 4 small cells. Master Bupa. Seeing this, Lazuli and the others immediately went to meet him. At the same time, their eyes were more focused on the little cell. Complete body. Although the strength is not high, the potential is also limited. But it is undeniable that they all exist at the complete body level and have a certain degree of growth. This also means that as long as they are swallowed, their own strength can be improved, and they can even evolve into a complete body. This is extremely important for Lazuli. Lapis. Likewise, even Extreme Android 16 can evolve its capabilities by devouring each other. Nodding his head, Bupa put number 21 aside and said, Lazuli, you are responsible for protecting number 21. Make sure she doesn't have any surprises. Yes. Nodding, Lazuli agreed immediately. Although they had a holiday with them before the 21st, the latter only mastered the ability to edit the cell program on the 030th. This also means that if Lazuli, Lapis and number 16 want to devour the little cell to evolve itself, they must ensure the safety of number 21. Immediately, Lazuli stepped forward and took number 21 to a safe area to sit down. At the same time, number 16 assisted Lapis in transferring the 4 small cells to the rear area for detention. They can't be devoured yet, but they can't be left alone either. Kakarot. My eldest brother is back. Let's continue. At this time, Broly stepped forward and said impatiently. Seeing the way Bupa had used to destroy Cell before, Broly was also filled with a strong fighting spirit at the moment. But he also understands that he is not Bupa's opponent. The only ones who can be his opponent are Son Goku and Son Gohan's fusion. It is good. Hearing this, Son Goku did not refuse at the moment, but nodded directly. Immediately afterwards, Son Goku looked at Son Gohan beside him and said, Gohan, let's start. Okay, Dad. With a promise, Son Gohan no longer hesitated, and immediately began to perform fusion dance steps with Son Goku. As the dance moves of the two began, the expressions of Vegeta and others also became solemn. Son Gohan and Son Goku's fusion is definitely the most powerful Z fighter in existence right now. It can be said that whether they can beat Broly, all hope is on them. Fusion. 39. Fusion! 35. Under everyone's gaze, Son Goku and Son Gohan's fingers touched together. The next second, the white light shines brightly. The figures of Son Goku and Son Gohan can be seen fused together at this moment. With a violent breath swept out, it can be seen that a brand new fusion warrior appeared in the battlefield. It's done. Finished. Seeing this, Vegeta and the others were all relieved. Fusion dance steps are also possible to fail, and a little carelessness will cause fusion to fail. Now that Son Goku and Son Gohan fusion are successful, this is extremely exciting news for everyone. Did fusion succeed? Seeing this, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he immediately said, System, check the information of the fusion warrior in front of you. In the next second, the information of the fusion warrior emerged. Kakaro Rice. Race, Fusion Warrior. Bloodline, Top Bloodline. Combat Power, 3.6 billion. Transformation, Super Saiyan 2. Ability, Kamehameha Wave, Kaio-ken, Instant Transmission, Magic Flash, 3.6 billion combat power. How is this possible? 99. After reading the information about the Kakaro meal, Bupa Hitumi, shrank, and his heart was full of incredible color. You know, Son Goku and Son Gohan's combined basic combat power is no more than a billion. According to the previous situation of Beggis, the strength of the latter should be about doubled. The existence of Kakaro rice is also doubled on the basis of the sum of the basic combat power of Son Goku and Son Gohan. This also means that even if they just transform into Super Saiyan 2, their combat power can reach 360 billion, far exceeding Broly in the Kaio-ken mode. Good. At this time, Broly also clearly felt the strength of Kakaro rice's combat power, and the look in his eyes became more intense, and he immediately laughed and said, "That's it." 5. That's what makes it interesting. While speaking, Broly no longer hesitated, and immediately activated the state of anger and super mode. The next second, Broly's combat power immediately reached the stage of 130 billion. The previous battle with Beggis had greatly improved his combat power. However, Broly did not directly activate Kaio-ken at this moment, but stared at the Kakarot fan and said, "Kakarot, come on." "No, I'm not Kakarot. It's not Son Gohan either." Hearing this, Kakaro fan glanced at Broly, and then slowly said, "My name is Kakaro fan, and I'm the one who wants to defeat you." Saying that, Kakaro fan didn't hesitate, and clenched his hands into fists and drank in a low voice, "Ha!" In the next second, Kakaro fan transformed into Super Saiyan form. In an instant, the combat power of Kakaro rice increased from 3.6 billion to 180 billion. After all this was done, Kakaro's eyes locked on Broly and he said, "Broly, let's fight." Saying that, Kakaro suddenly rushed out and attacked Broly. Seeing this, Broly was not afraid at all, and roared and rushed forward to fight with Kakaro fan. Bang bang bang, bang bang bang. In an instant, the two figures fought fiercely in the ring. The boxing shadows in the sky are constantly emerging, and the punching to the flesh has a strong sense of blow. Both Kakaro fan and Broly are more brave and excited the more they fight. Under such circumstances, the entire arena was shaken, the aftermath of terror spread, and even the earth was rapidly collapsing and cracking. FK fight. The growl continued, and the battle between Broly and Son Goku soon reached a fever pitch. However, it is clear that Broly is clearly at a disadvantage. As the power of Kakaro rice continued to explode, Broly changed from active to passive at the beginning, and even had to start defense at this moment. Chapter 68 Broly loses, collects spiritual fruit seeds. Going to win. Success. 6695. Seeing this scene, Piccolo and others on the sidelines cheered. Kakaro rice suppressed the Super Quan Broly, which also means that the victory of this game has been stabilized. After all, even though Broly is using Kaio-ken, Kakaro fan still has a Super 2 transformation that has not been used. In contrast, Broly has no chance of beating Kakaro rice. This also means that the bet between the two parties is that he and others won, and Bupa must take back the spiritual fruit tree. At this time, Broly burst into a drink, and directly activated the double Kaio-ken. In the next second, Broly's chi increased to more than 260 billion. "Get away from me!" With a low growl, Broly slammed the Kakaro meal out with a punch. However, before he could catch his breath, Kakaro fan floated to the ground, clenched his fists and shouted, "Ha!" In the next second, it can be seen that lightning beats all over his body, and he directly transformed into a Super 2 form. At this moment, the Super 2 form Kakaro rice has a combat power of 360 billion. As soon as he stepped on the ground, Kakaro rice instantly appeared in the area in front of Broly. Defeat. With a low roar, Kakaro rice's attack was launched brazenly and bombarded directly on Broly's chest. A badge. With a scream, blood spurted out of Broly's mouth, and the whole person fell from the sky like a kite with a broken string, smashed to the ground and looked extremely embarrassed. Kakaro rice. However, Broly did not admit defeat. Roaring in his mouth, his body was surging with red and green energy. The whole person stood up from the ground, and his combat power soared close to 10 billion again. But just like that, Broly is still not the opponent of Kakaro rice. With the two figures fighting together in midair, Broly suffered heavy injuries continuously. Blood was constantly spurting out of his mouth, and his face became extremely pale at this moment. In just a few breaths, Broly had become a living target for Kakaro rice. The whole person's body was continuously smashed down in the arena, and the countless arena areas were exploded and turned into ruins. Master Bupa. Broly is going to lose. Seeing this situation, Lapis spoke quietly, frowning slightly and said, "If you continue, it doesn't make any sense." Hearing this, Bupa glanced at Lapis, as the latter said, "Broly at the moment has no more power to fight. Even if the super bloodline makes him stronger when he is strong, the difference in combat power of nearly 100 billion cannot be made up in a short period of time. Therefore, continuing to fight will not do Broly any good, and may even hurt his roots." Thinking of this, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose. "It's time to end." 35. With the lessons of this failure, I believe that Broly will be able to improve his strength faster after being ashamed. While speaking, Bupa no longer hesitated, and with a flick of his body, he appeared in the area of the arena. Immediately afterwards, Bupa launched a super transformation, grabbed the attack of Kakaro with a wave of his hand, and said, "Kakaro, it's over." 5. After saying that, Bupa threw the Kakaro rice away. Immediately afterwards, Bupa stepped to the side of Broly, who had retreated to his normal appearance on the ground and said, "Broly, how do you feel?" "Big brother." Hearing this, Broly struggled to raise his head, saw a flash of curtain flash in the eyes of Bupa who was standing in front of him, and said, "I'm sorry brother, I lost." Although not reconciled, but Broly also understands that he has done his best before. Kaio-ken's cultivation did not reach a higher level, so this also caused him to have no possibility of resistance. But Broly is not unwilling to fail, but to live up to Bupa's trust and expectations. After all, Bupa was determined to leave it all to him before, and even believed that he could defeat Son Goku and others. However, under the current situation, he finally ended in failure, which made Broly not even dare to look directly at Bupa. "Don't feel guilty." In response, Bupa smiled indifferently, stretched out his hand to the area in front of Broly and said, "One defeat is nothing, and you also have the ability to go further." 35. The further transformation of Chuan Chao mode. As long as you can complete it, then Kakaro Rice can't be your opponent. This is not Bupa comforting Broly. Once Broly completes the transformation of Chuan Chao 2, his combat power increase will reach 1000 times terrifying. 0 flowers. At that time, not to mention the Super 2 forms of Kakaro Fan and others, even the Super 3 forms increase will not be comparable to it. After all, the transformation of Chuan Chao 2 is the beginning of Chuan Chao's true invincibility. But the current Broly has not yet reached that level. "I know big brother." Nodding, Broly reached out to grab Bupa's hand and stood up from the ground. Immediately afterwards, he glanced at Kakaro Fan not far away, and said, "Kakaro Fan, next time, I will definitely defeat you in person." For a time, Broly became warlike again. "Very good." Seeing this, Bupa nodded in satisfaction. Broly can continue to maintain a high fighting spirit, which means that he is not deposited in the situation of being hit. 0. In this way, after Broly recovers, he will continue to exercise himself, and even use this fighting spirit to continuously improve his combat effectiveness. "Bupa." At this time, Piccolo said quietly in the distance, "Broly has lost." According to the previous agreement, you have to collect the spiritual fruit tree. You can't let him continue to absorb the vitality of the earth. 5. As soon as these words came out, the eyes of everyone present also turned to where Bupa was. A convention is a convention, but whether Bupa will live up to its promise is also worrying. Certainly. However, Bupa looked indifferent at the moment, swept Piccolo and the others and said, Bupa, say everything." "Since you have won, then I will not let the spiritual fruit tree continue to devour the vitality of the earth." After speaking, Bupa jumped up and arrived at the top of the spiritual fruit tree directly under the gaze of everyone. You can see where 7 or 8 spiritual fruits have matured. They are all top-notch spiritual fruits, and each one can increase the combat power of at least 500,000. Receive. Without hesitation, Bupa quickly collected the 8 spiritual fruits into the universal capsule. After doing all this, Bupa raised his hand to aim at an area and launched a Kaigong bomb. Rumbling. The sound of the explosion resounded, the spiritual fruit tree collapsed, the ground cracked open, and a pale golden seed slowly flew out of it. Chapter 69 Super 2 Full Power. The challenge from Kakaro Rice. Is that a spiritual fruit seed? That is, it absorbs more than 80% of the life of the earth. 35:66. Staring blankly at the spiritual fruit seeds that flew out, Piccolo and the others could not wait to destroy them. This thing is too evil. It can devour the life of the planet to breed fruit. This time, it was because Kakaro defeated Broly and kept the earth alive. But if the next time this seed is planted by Bupa into other planets, it will be a crisis of star extinction. However, Piccolo and others did not dare to act rashly, including Kakaro Rice is no exception. They knew that Bupa's terror was not something that they and others could match. If they make a rash move at this time, I am afraid that the situation that the two sides have finally calmed down will break out completely. Receive. At this time, 030 Bupa waved his hand to put away the spiritual fruit seeds. After doing all this, Bupa dodged and came to Broly's side, took out a spiritual fruit and handed it out. "Broly, eat it to restore yourself." "Yes, sir." Agreed. Broly didn't ask why, and immediately reached out to take the spiritual fruit and ate it. For a time, everyone's eyes also turned to Broly. Everyone is not an idiot. Bupa worked hard to devise a racial spiritual fruit tree, and that fruit was born after absorbing so much vitality from the earth, so it must not be ordinary. Therefore, everyone is also curious about the function of this spiritual fruit. Under the gazes of everyone, it could be seen that Broly would soon finish eating a spiritual fruit. Immediately afterwards, Broly's injuries could be seen recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Not only that, Broly's own combat power has also increased by more than 500,000 at this moment. Although not many, there are no side effects. One fruit increases the combat power by 500,000. My god, this spiritual fruit is actually so powerful. Seeing this scene, Kakaro fan, Vegeta and others couldn't help exclaiming. Their eyes were full of horror, especially Kling, Shinshinhan and the others. Their eyes widened and their faces filled with heat at this moment. You know, even now their combat power has not reached the level of 500,000. Now a single fruit can increase the combat power of a person by a full 500,000, which is simply incredible. What an amazing fruit. Opening his eyes, Broly felt his own situation, and there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. Immediately afterwards, he turned his head to look at Bupa and said, "Brother, can those fruits improve combat power?" "Good." With an indifferent smile, Bupa didn't hide it, and said directly, "The seeds of spiritual fruits can improve combat power. The more vitality that is absorbed, the stronger the fruit that is bred will enhance the combat power. The existence of this thing can completely make the artificial Saiyan stronger quickly. As long as their strength is sufficient, my plans and ambitions will be fulfilled." Hearing this, Broly nodded immediately. Did he know that Bupa created the artificial Saiyan race to form the Justice League to keep the universe at peace? Now that the spiritual fruit can quickly make people stronger, they only need to create artificial Saiyan, then their combat power will have no problem. After all, there are not so many strong people in the universe. As long as the artificial Saiyan has about 10,000 combat power, it is enough to maintain order and stability. Thinking of this, Broly immediately said, "Brother, should we go back now?" "Good." Nodding, Bupa didn't intend to stay any longer. The purpose of this Earth operation has been completed, and the 16th, the Lazuli siblings and the 21st have also been subdued. Coupled with the existence of Buma, it can be said that the harvest is far beyond expectations. With the existence of 16, 21 and Bulma, the technology to create the artificial Saiyan race will not be a problem. Therefore, the main thing now is to return to the new Vegeta Star and start creating artificial Saiyan. Thinking of this, Bupa said immediately, "Go get ready, it's time for us to leave." "Yes, sir." With a promise, Broly no longer hesitated, turned around and walked towards the area where number 21 and others were. Bupa also turned around and planned to leave. As for Son Goku and others, he had no intention of killing them directly. "Wait a minute, Bupa." At this moment, the voice of Kakaro Rice came quietly. Looking at the sound, I can see that Kakaro fan stepped forward, staring at Bupa and said, "Bupa, can you let Bupa go?" As soon as these words came out, Vegeta, Trunks and others not far away also looked at Bupa's place, their eyes filled with anticipation. Buma is also extremely important to them, and if they are taken away by Bupa and others like this, they will be quite unwilling. "I reject." Glancing at Kakaro Rice, Bupa replied indifferently. "Joke." Buma's grabbed it by himself, so of course there was no possibility of returning it. And Buma hasn't helped him complete the artificial Saiyan's plan, and letting him go will definitely slow down the progress of the plan. The most important thing is that now Buma belongs to him. How could he be handing it back? Damn. 95. Hearing this, Vegeta, Trunks and others turned pale. Their hearts were filled with anger and murderous intent for Bupa's actions to keep Buma back. It's just that they can't do anything about it. After all, the power that Bupa showed when he killed Cell in an instant was too strong, and it was not something they could compete with now. Bupa. At this time, Kakaro fan stepped forward, fixed his eyes on Bupa and said, "If you don't want to let Bupa go, let's fight again. Although I'm not sure if I can be your opponent, I still want to try it out." 33. Saying that, Kakaro fan stepped out one step, and the chi in the whole body became violent. From the original 360 billion to 0.7, it became stronger to the point of 720 billion. This is Super 2 full power. Seeing this scene, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he said with a somewhat horrified expression, "It's really talented." Actually, he reached the state of full power all of a sudden, and his combat power has doubled. But just like that, you are still not my opponent. Saying that, Bupa didn't hide it, and directly poured out his own 1.1 trillion coercion to attack the Kakaro meal. Rumbling. For a while, the two chi collided in midair, and the terrifying power continued to spread. In a moment, the entire arena was reduced to ruins, and even Broly and others, Vegeta and others were forced to withdraw for hundreds of miles before they stabilized their figure. Chapter 70 Tenfold Kaio-ken, Tyrannical Kakaro Rice. So strong. Both of them are so terrifying. 55. 6699. Seeing this, Vegeta and the others all exclaimed. Whether it was Kakaro Rice or Bupa, the power they showed at the moment was far beyond their reach. Even for Piccolo, Kling and others, it is like being in a dream. The battle power of hundreds of billions and over a trillion at every turn, for them with only a few 100,000 battle power, it is simply the gap between Haoyu and rice grains, completely unimaginable. Damn. Kakaro Rice can actually become stronger. That is to say, he has not used his full strength in a battle with me before. Broly was hit even more, his fists clenched, and his eyes were full of aggrieved and unwilling. After all, The gap between the two sides may only be about 100 billion before, and he can catch up with his hard work. But now the power of Kakaro Rice under the full power of Super Second is much stronger than him. This also caused Broly to be unable to catch up in a short period of time, which made him suffer 20 blows. Super Saiyan 2 full power, twice the power of Super Saiyan 2. On the other hand, Vegeta and Trunks have hot eyes at the moment, looking at the Kakaro Rice with longing and longing. Neither of them has completed the Super Saiyan 2 transformation. Although they have completed it after they have been combined, they are not able to perform the Super Saiyan 2 transformation in a short period of time. Now that they have seen the transformation of Kakaro Rice, they have more confidence in their future. As long as you complete Super Saiyan 2, it is possible to reach the full power of this Super Saiyan 2. Super Saiyan 2 increases the basic combat power by 100 times, while the full power of Super Saiyan 2 is twice that of Super Saiyan 2. This means that once the Super 2 full power is completed, the basic combat power can be increased by 200 times. For a time, Vegeta and Trunks were both determined to practice hard. Only by becoming stronger can it be possible to reach the level of Kakaro and surpass Bupa. Da. At this moment, Kakaro fan suddenly took a few steps back. Under the pressure of Bupa's coercion, it could not be resisted at all, and even blood stains overflowed from the corners of the mouth. So strong. Seeing this, Kakaro fan's expression changed several times, and then he reached out and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said, "Bupa, you are really strong. Among the people I have ever met, you are undoubtedly the most powerful. However, I will not admit defeat. Buma is my friend, and I will never allow you to take her away." 35. Saying that, Kakaro clenched his teeth sharply, clenched his fists tightly and shouted, "Quadruple Kaio-ken." In the next second, the crimson chi spewed out and began to mix with the golden chi around Kakaro Rice. With the quadruple Kaio-ken cast, the aura of Kakaro Rice rose rapidly, and immediately reached the level of 2.8 trillion. In an instant, the earth shook. Under the terrifying aura, countless cracks appeared in the entire earth, and those places that had been absorbed and turned into deserts even exploded directly. At this moment, Kakaro Rice was like a god's mansion, and the violent aura swept across the world, making people dare not even look at his existence. Quadruple Kaio-ken. I really underestimated you. Seeing this, Bupa's complexion slightly condensed. It was beyond his expectation that Kakaro fan was able to perform Kaio-ken in the super match form. After all, in the original book, Son Goku was able to complete such a move only in Super 4 form. In addition, in the super world of Dragon Ball, Son Goku can only perform Kaio-ken in Super Blue form. From start to finish, Son Goku has never cast a Kaio-ken stack in Super Saiyan form. But now that Kakaro fan has actually done it, it is worthy of being a fit warrior, even if it is not as good as Gigato and Vegeta in the original book. I am afraid that it is almost the same. But it's just that, but it's not my opponent. But soon, Bupa came back to his senses, his eyes fixed on Kakaro fan and said, 4 times Kaio-ken should be your limit now. 35. Guess what my Kaio-ken limit is? Hearing this, Kakaro fan's expression changed slightly. He's not an idiot. How could he not understand what Bupa meant? In addition, Bupa had previously performed Kaio-ken in the Super Ace form to inspire him, which also means that he has further possibilities. 10 times Kaio-ken. Before Kakaro could say anything, Bupa took the lead. The crimson chi spurted out as the loud shout resounded, and the Tenfold Kaio-ken was activated. In just an instant, Bupa's combat power increased from 1.1 trillion to 11 trillion. After all this was done, Bupa raised his head to look at Kakaro Rice not far away and said, "This is my true flourishing attitude." Kakaro Rice, then I'll show you what the power limit of 11 trillion combat power is. After speaking, Bupa stepped out, and the whole person instantly appeared in the area where Kakaro Rice was, and punched him straight in the face. Not good. When the crisis struck, Kakaro fan's face changed greatly. He could clearly feel the terrifying energy contained in Bupa's blow, and subconsciously raised his hand to block. The next second, Bupa's fist slammed into Kakaro fan's arm. Accompanied by a cracking sound, you can clearly see the flesh of Kakaro fan's arm bursting, and the whole person screams "Oh" before being knocked out. Receive. Without continuing to pursue the victory, Bupa quickly took out the utensils and collected all the flesh and blood fragments of the Kakaro Rice. He wants to create artificial Saiyan. The blood of Beggis has been collected before, and now he will not let go of the flesh and blood of Kakaro Rice. After doing all this, Bupa dodged out again. Almost instantly, Bupa arrived at the Kakaro Rice, and even without waiting for him to stabilize his body, the movements in his hands have already accelerated. Bang bang bang. The bombardment continued to resound, and countless fist shadows continuously attacked Kakaro fan's body under Bupa's control. What? Not only was there a scream in the mouth, but Kakaro fan was vomiting blood continuously at this moment. The whole person was retreating, and the bones of the whole body were constantly bursting. Under the crushing of absolute power, Kakaro Rice has no resistance, and can't even dodge. Just as Bupa punched Kakaro's belly again, a cloud of white light quietly shone brightly. In the next second, the figure of Kakaro Rice disappeared, replaced by the scarred Son Goku and Son Gohan. Immediately afterwards, the figures of the two fell from the sky and smashed directly onto the ruined stones on the ground, lying there dying. Although they were not dead, they obviously couldn't hold on for long. Chapter 71 Leaving Earth, Trunks Return to the Future. Goku, Gohan, 35, 66. 99. This scene suddenly made Piccolo and others exclaimed. Unexpectedly, Bupa would be so terrifying. With a blessing of 4 times the Kaio-ken, the power has reached a terrifying level. But he was still crushed by Bupa, and he was even thrown out of fusion state, and even Son Goku and Son Gohan were dying. Without thinking about anything else, Piccolo flew up quickly. After arriving next to Son Goku and Son Gohan, he quickly took out the bag containing the sendu. Immediately afterwards, Piccolo took out 2 fairy beans and fed them to Son Gohan and Son Goku. Grumbling, Son Goku and Son Gohan's hideous appearances were relieved just after the fairy beans were eaten. Immediately afterwards, the two of them also woke up, and their injuries recovered rapidly, but it was difficult for them to recover in a short period of time. Seeing this, Piccolo breathed a sigh of relief. Anyway, at least Son Goku and Son Gohan are now out of danger. Is this the fairy bean? Suddenly, Bupa's voice was not loud. Piccolo felt his whole body stiffen, and his expression stiffened. Before he could say anything, Bupa's hand stretched out and snatched the bag containing the fairy beans. There are 12 more. Not bad, not bad. Opening it and taking a look, the corner of Bupa's mouth rose slightly, and then he put it away and said, "This thing is good, it's mine now." After that, Bupa ignored Piccolo's reaction, turned around and walked towards Broly and others not far away. Brother Mighty, Master Bupa is amazing. Broly, Lazuli and others cheered as Bupa returned. The eyes looking at Bupa are also full of yearning and worship. Too strong. Bupa's destructive power made them feel like an invincible existence. Broly, how is the ship prepared? 35. Waving his hand, Bupa said indifferently, "Already prepared." Hearing this, Broly didn't dare to neglect, and immediately pointed to the area not far away. It can be seen that the universe spacecraft has been released, and number 16, Lapis, number 21 and Buma have also entered it. The entire universe spaceship started at this moment, and bursts of roars resounded, waiting for them to enter and leave the Earth. Very good. Nodding with satisfaction, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose. So, let's go. 5. Yes. With a promise, Broly and Lazuli did not dare to neglect, and immediately turned around and followed Bupa towards the universe spaceship. Bupa. 9. Bupa, 35. Just as the 3 of Bupa were about to enter the universe spaceship, several voices followed. Looking around, we can see Son Goku, Son Gohan, Vegeta, Trunks and others coming in a hurry. When they reached the area outside the universe spaceship, the eyes of the 4 of them were all locked on Bupa's body, and they said with awe, "Next time, we will definitely defeat you and save Buma. Beat me." Hearing this, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose slightly, and he subconsciously turned his head to look at Son Goku and the others and said, "I'll wait." 39. The new Vegeta star, that is my planet. If you think you can beat me, you are welcome to challenge me. Of course, the premise is that you can defeat Broly. Otherwise, you are not even qualified to play against me. After speaking, Bupa no longer hesitated, turned around and took Broly and Lazuli into the universe spaceship. Click. With the closure of the door of the universe spaceship rose into the air and galloped towards the outside world rapidly. After a while, the universe spaceship left the Earth and drove rapidly in the universe towards the direction of the new Vegeta star. Have you left the new Vegeta star? I will definitely go. Watching the universe spaceship leave, the faces of Son Goku and the others on the ground also turned extremely ugly at the moment. Especially Vegeta. His wife was taken away like this, but he has no way to do it, which is definitely a huge shame. Subconsciously clenching her fists, Vegeta gritted her teeth and said, "Bupa, next time, this prince will definitely defeat you head on." After speaking, Vegeta turned her head sharply to look at Trunks beside her and said, "Trunks, you should go back too. You have seen what happened before. After you go back, in addition to being careful about the 17th and 18th, you have to be wary of the appearance of other androids. 99. Especially that Cell, you must not give him any chance, otherwise the consequences will be disastrous." This remark immediately aroused the approval of Son Goku and others. They all remembered the words of number 16 before, Trunks will be killed by Cell in the future. If you want to avoid all this, the Trunks have to find and kill them as soon as possible. Okay, Dad. 9. Nodding heavily, Trunks said seriously, "I will definitely be careful. I will definitely wipe out all the androids in the future world." After finishing speaking, Trunks looked at Son Goku and the others on the side. Although he was quite reluctant, he also understood that this world did not belong to him. Immediately after, Trunks threw an omnipotent capsule on the ground. With a bang, the omnipotent capsule exploded, and the light machine appeared in the area of the arena. When all this was done, Trunks stepped into the time machine and waved at Vegeta, Son Goku and Son Gohan, Dad, Uncle Goku, Big Brother Gohan. After the crisis in the future is resolved, I will come back to help you save your mother together. After finishing speaking, Trunks no longer hesitated, just closed the door of the time machine and started it immediately. With a resounding roar, the time machine was dazzling, and it rose directly into the sky and disappeared from the place. Woo! Watching Trunks leave, Son Goku and others also sighed with relief. After looking at each other, Son Goku looked at Piccolo and said, Piccolo, how long until Dragon Ball can be used? The Earth is in a precarious state now, and it must be repaired as soon as possible. 35 And there are countless deaths and injuries on Earth because of the spiritual fruit tree. We also need to revive it. It's still early. 99 Hearing this, Piccolo shook his head and said, Bupa has been using Shenron for less than a month. Dragon Ball will take more than 11 months to recover, and then the Earth will be able to return to life. 35 Besides, this time the human beings died more because of the harsh environment, so even if Shenron was summoned, it would be difficult to revive them all. 35 Chapter 72 Helpless Warrior Z, Bobo explains the time house. Hearing this, Son Goku and the others frowned. It is definitely not good news that humans who died due to natural disasters cannot be resurrected. The effect of the spiritual fruit tree is the Earth itself, not the killing of humans. This has also led to the fact that almost 99% of the human beings who die now are due to natural disasters. In this way, even if the Earth is restored to its original state, I am afraid that there will not be many human beings at that time. Most importantly, it will take 11 months to restore Earth with Dragon Ball, so that the remaining humans on Earth will only be more likely to die. How good is that? Subconsciously, Son Goku opened his mouth and looked a little impatient. If all human beings on Earth are dead, what's the point of restoring the Earth then? Namek Shenron. At this time, Son Gohan on the side said quietly, Dad, if it is Namek Shenron, then it will definitely be able to resurrect all the dead humans. 39 Namek Shenron. Hearing this, Son Goku and the others were all refreshed. Unlike the limitations of Earth Shenron, the limitations of Namek Shenron are not the same. It's like Earth Shenron can't revive humans who died in 043 in natural disasters, but Namek Shenron can. But Namek Shenron also has drawbacks, that is, he can only be resurrected once. Once the human beings on Earth are resurrected this time, if they die in the future, they will not be able to use him to resurrect. But in any case, this is also a good choice, even the only choice. Otherwise, human beings on the Earth will become extinct. Then the existence of the Earth will really be meaningless. Not good. Suddenly, Vegeta seemed to think of something, and his face changed greatly. Bupa's target is Namek Shenron too. He got information about the Namek residents from Buma before. If nothing else, Bupa will also go to the new Namek, and even hold the Dragon Ball of the Namek people in his hands. 995 As soon as these words came out, Son Goku, Son Gohan, Piccolo and others all changed their faces. If it's true as Vegeta said, then this matter is really big. Even a little careless, the consequences are absolutely unimaginable. After all, based on what they knew about Bupa, once the latter found the Namek, it was bound to hold him firmly in his hands. There will only be two outcomes at that time, either the Namek will surrender, or the Namek will all be killed by it. No, the new Namek must be reached as soon as possible. 35 Not only do we need to resurrect the dead humans on Earth with Namek Shenron, but the most important thing is to transfer all that Namek people. Almost instantly, Son Goku made up his mind, looked at Piccolo and said, Piccolo, do you know the coordinates of the new Namek? I know. 95 Nodding, Piccolo said with a complicated expression, but now Buma has been captured. There is no universe spaceship that can carry out interstellar voyages on Earth. How can this be good? Hearing this, Son Goku was also dumbfounded. Without the universe ship, they would be staring blankly, unable to even go to the new Namek. It's all right. At this time, Vegeta said quietly, Buma's father can also build a universe spaceship. 35 And Buma's information is in the research room, and it should be possible to completely build the universe spaceship in just a few months. But the main thing right now is that if we go to Namek next we'll probably face Bupa et al. Again. So, under such circumstances, we must once again improve our combat power. As soon as these words came out, Son Goku and the others frowned. Increase strength. This is indeed urgent. Not only because of the Namek people, but more importantly, only by defeating Bupa and Broly can Buma be rescued. Thinking of this, Son Goku looked at Piccolo and said, Piccolo, is it really impossible to enter the House of Time at that time? As soon as these words came out, Vegeta and Son Gohan also looked at Piccolo. As Son Goku said, only the House of Time can make them strong enough to beat Broly and Bupa in a short period of time. But if they can't get inside the Time House, they want to catch up with Bupa and Broly in just a few months. I'm not too sure either. Faced with the question, Piccolo pondered for a while, and then said, in the memory of the old guy, the rules of the Time House are like this. But the Time House existed before this, so I don't know if there are any special cases. But Bobo was born a long time ago, even before that old guy became a god. If there is anything special about the Time House, It can only be known by asking Bobo. Bobo. Hearing this, the figure of Bobo appeared in the minds of Son Goku and the three of them. After looking at each other, Son Goku took the lead and said, "So, let's go to the heaven and ask Bobo first. He also instructed me to cultivate back then. Maybe there is a way for us to improve again in a short period of time." This remark immediately aroused the approval of Vegeta and Son Gohan. After all, the previous Super Divine Water was taken out by Bobo. If it weren't for the power of Super Divine Water, I'm afraid they wouldn't be able to reach such a level in a short period of time. Thinking of this, a group of people no longer hesitated, and quickly flew towards the heaven. It didn't take long for Son Goku and his party to arrive at the heaven. Bobo. 35. After floating to the ground, Son Goku and the others hurried to where Bobo was pointing. Mr. Goku. Seeing Son Goku and the others approaching, Bobo put down the things in his hand, and immediately asked inexplicably, "What's the matter with you coming to see me this time?" 35. Yes. 55. Hearing this, Son Goku didn't give a shit, and hurriedly asked, "Mr. Popo, I want to know if we can still enter the time house." As soon as these words came out, all the eyes of the people present turned to where Bobo was, and their eyes were full of anticipation. Yes. 35. In this regard, Bobo did not hide anything, and said directly, "The previous rules were for ordinary humans, but Mr. Goku, Mr. Vegeta, Mr. Son Gohan and Mr. Piccolo are not human either, so the rules will change relatively speaking. According to my inference, Mr. Piccolo can stay in it for about 5 years, and Mr. Goku and you can stay for about 10 days. If your strength can reach a certain level, then even if the time house is closed, you can use a powerful force to create a short passage." Chapter 73. The Penance of the Z Warriors. The return to the new Vegeta Star. 5 days. 10 days. Son Goku, Vegeta, Son Gohan and Piccolo all exclaimed after listening to Bobo's narration. Unexpectedly, the restrictions of this time house are actually divided. And if it is according to Bobo's description, then Piccolo can go in practice for 5 years. And the three of Son Goku can go in practice for a full 7 years. Enough. Almost instantly, Son Goku and the others cheered. He didn't notice the information that Bobo finally said that as long as the power was strong enough, even the door of the time house could open a way out of it. Bobo. Without the slightest hesitation, Son Goku said, "You take us to the time house. We need to practice, we need to get stronger." As soon as these words came out, Ken and the others in the rear area looked at each other, and immediately stepped forward and said, "We also have to enter the time room to practice. Although I don't know where my limits are." But Kling and others also longed to become stronger in their hearts, and this time they were too stimulated by Bupa. The power that could easily destroy the planet made them feel their own insignificance and weakness. Therefore, they are all eager to become stronger, no matter how much stronger. At least it can give them some comfort. Even if you die in battle one day in the future, at least you have worked hard for it. It is good. Nodding, Bobo glanced at Son Goku and the others, and immediately said, "Come with me, everyone." Saying that, Bobo took Son Goku and the others to the time house. After the time room opened, Son Goku and the others poured into it in a swarm, and couldn't wait to start practicing. In the future world, Trunks returns in a time machine. Immediately afterwards, Trunks found number 17 and number 18 and eliminated them. With the previous reminder of number 16 and the teachings of Vegeta, Trunks directly destroyed number 17 and number 18 this time, leaving not even a trace of ashes. After doing all this, Trunks did not stop there, but began to search the world for traces of Cell. The hard work paid off. In just a few days, the Trunks successfully found the Cell hiding on the Earth. At this time, the Cell was still in its original state, and its combat power was only about 800 million, so it was no match for Trunks at all. Without much wasted effort, the Trunks directly wiped out the Cell. After all this is done, Trunks will go back to reunite with Buma, and at the same time spread the word about the destruction of the androids all over the universe. With the destruction of the artificial man, the entire future world suddenly boiled, and countless hidden humans walked out from the ground and the mountains and forests, and began to repair the destroyed city. After Trunks told Buma about Bupa, Buma started to recharge the time machine. Trunks was not idle either, entered the underworld with the help of the fortune-telling mother-in-law, and then went to the planet where King Kai is located under the leadership of Son Goku and others to start practicing. New Vegeta Star. At the other end, Bupa returned to the new Star Vegeta in the universe spaceship. With their return, it can be seen that the entire new Vegeta Star is already full of life at this moment. During the time they were away, Kakao and Saiyan had already completed the transformation of the entire new Vegeta Star according to Bupa's request. With the arrival of the universe spaceship, Kakao and the others quickly gathered together and waited outside the universe spaceship. Click. The door of the universe spaceship opened, and Bupa and the others stepped out of it. "Meet Master Bupa. Meet Master Bupa." Seeing this, Kakao and the others did not dare to neglect, and they all knelt down and shouted, "Get up." Hearing this, Bupa nodded in satisfaction, and waved for everyone to get up. Immediately afterwards, Bupa took out an omnipotent capsule to open it, and then took out 12 spiritual fruits and threw them to Kakao and others. You have done a good job during this time. This is your reward. Spiritual fruit. Seeing the flying fruit, Kakao and the others were overjoyed. They quickly reached out to take the spiritual fruit, and looked at Bupa frantically. Thank you, Lord Bupa. Thank you, Lord Bupa. 66.99. Saying that, the 12 Kakao couldn't wait to pick up the spiritual fruit and ate it. In an instant, the chi and Kakao and the others increased by about 3,000 5,000. 0 for flowers 0. Ding. Check that the loyalty of the bound character Kakao reaches 90, and activate the tenfold return ability. Ding. Check that the loyalty of the bound character Amendo reaches 90, and activate the tenfold return ability. Ding. Check that the loyalty of the bound character Days reaches 90, and activate the tenfold return ability. 35. For a time, the system prompts the sound continuously resounding. After the 12 Kakao ate the spiritual fruit, their loyalty to Bupa also reached the point of disloyalty. But unexpectedly, after the 12 Kakao reached the point of disloyalty, there was no reward. System, what's the situation? Subconsciously, Bupa asked. In the past, Broly, Lazuli siblings, and even the 21st would be rewarded for being loyal. 0. Why don't the 12 Kakao have a reward after their loyalty reaches 90? Ding. The host's bound character's luck is insufficient, and the system reward cannot be triggered. The stronger the luck of the host-bound character, the stronger the trigger reward will be. For example, Broly is the main character, Lazuli and number 21 are the supporting characters, and Kakao and the others are just tricks, and can only trigger 10 times the return ability. I see. After listening to the system's answer, Bupa suddenly realized. Immediately afterwards, Bupa's eyes changed, and the whole person fell into contemplation. According to the system, if the character bound by yourself is the protagonist, the reward will be huge. That is to say, if he brings Son Goku and other Z fighters under his command, then when their loyalty to him reaches 90, they can trigger stronger rewards. Thinking of this, Bupa couldn't help sighing inwardly, and secretly said, fortunately, Son Goku and other Z warriors were not killed on Earth before, otherwise it would have been a big loss. Master Bupa. At this time, a figure stepped forward, bowed and saluted. Report to Lord Bupa. Not long ago, an alien who claimed to be under the command of Slug came to the new Vegeta planet. The man said that Slug was extremely powerful and wanted to recruit us as his subordinates, and invited us to a place called New Namek to find the Dragon Ball. According to the man, the Namek people have in their hand something called the Dragon Ball, which can grant anyone's wishes. 35-7. Chapter 74. Go to the New Namek and ask for help from the Z warriors every day. Slug. Isn't that the theatrical version of Super Namek? With a frown, Bupa's eyes flashed with murderous intent. You know, the Namek people are an important part of his construction of his Saiyan kingdom. It is absolutely unforgivable that this Slug wants to deal with the New Namek. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately asked, did that person say the New Namek location? No. 35. Shaking his head, Saiyan replied quickly, the man tried to win us over and failed, and then he escaped from the new Vegeta star. 5. But before he left a communicator, saying that we can contact him if we can communicate. Saying that, Saiyan took out a communicator from his pocket and handed it to Bupa. Wishful thinking. Seeing this, Bupa's eyes flashed with disdain. 053 destroyed the communicator at will, then turned to look at Buma and said, Buma, tell me the coordinates of the new Namek. This is what you promised me before. If you dare to break your promise, then I can transfer the spacecraft to the Earth now. I say. Hearing this, Buma nodded quickly. Not only was she afraid that Bupa would go to Earth again, but most importantly, she could hear it from Saiyan's report just now. Now Namek has encountered a crisis, and this crisis is likely to be fatal. Now the Namek people can't notify Son Goku and others to come to support, so the only possible rescue for Namek is Bupa. Although she also understands that Bupa's target is also the Dragon Ball of the Namek people, but based on what he knows about Bupa, as long as the other party does not fight to the death, there will be no danger. Thinking of this, Buma quickly told Bupa the new Namek coordinates. Very good. Having obtained the coordinates, Bupa nodded with satisfaction. Immediately afterwards, his eyes turned to the Lazuli siblings and number 16, and said, then you can stay in this new Vegeta star. After the 21st wakes up, you will let her start researching, and if there is any need, tell Kakao and others. Yes. Hearing this, the Lazuli siblings and number 16 did not dare to neglect. Of course they understood what Bupa was referring to, the artificial Saiyan project, which Bupa had always pursued. Now that everyone has come to the new Vegeta star, he will naturally not continue to delay time. Thinking of this, Lazuli immediately said, Lord Bupa, what about her? Saying that, Lazuli pointed to Buma next to him. Buma. Glancing at Buma, Bupa frowned and wanted her to stay for research. I will go with you. However, before Bupa could speak, Buma, who was beside him, was the first to speak. If you want to subdue the Namek people, then you need someone who can be recognized by them. I went to Namek with Goku and the others before, and the people in Namek were kind to me, and I can help you convince them. Buma didn't want to be left alone. She could feel that Lazuli and others did not treat her very well. The main thing is that she was really worried about the situation of the Namek people. She did not doubt that Bupa had the ability to save the Namek people, but if the Namek people did not agree to surrender, they would surely die. Therefore, Buma chose to go along with her. If things really developed to the point of no return, she still had the possibility to convince a group of Namek people. Good. 99. Glancing at Buma, Bupa nodded. Immediately afterwards, he looked at Lazuli and said, Lazuli, the next thing about the new Vegeta will be left to you. Yes, my lord. With a promise, Lazuli smiled and did not refuse. But there was a hint of disappointment in her eyes. She also wants to go with Bupa to the new Namek. It's a pity that Bupa didn't let her go, and she's not Buma, so there's no excuse to follow along. Nodding, Bupa didn't hesitate immediately. After handing number 21 to Lazuli, he turned around and took Broly and Buma into the universe spaceship again. After a while, the universe spaceship opened, quickly left the direction of the new Vegeta star, and flew towards the new Namek. Watching the universe spaceship leave, Lazuli couldn't help sighing. Sister is lost. 35. At this time, Lapis stepped forward with a playful expression. It seems that you have a crush on Lord Bupa. To shut up. Hearing this, Lazuli turned his head and glared at Lapis, like a girl whose mind was broken. Her pretty face was slightly red. However, Lazuli is not an ordinary woman. She quickly calmed down, looked at number 21 who was still sleeping in her arms, and said, let's go, put number 21 in a safe place first. 39. Her evolution has not been completed for so long, and it seems that it will take some time. Good. 35. Nodding, Lapis also agreed with Lazuli's words. At the same time, he is also quite concerned about the safety of number 21. It's not because of other thoughts, but because number 21 masters the cell program. Only the awakening of the 21st can help them edit the cell program so that they can devour the 4 little cells. Thinking of this, Lapis immediately escorted the 4 little cells away under the leadership of Kakaro. At the same time, Lazuli and number 16 also went to their respective residences under the leadership of Mondo and others. Earth, heaven. Click. The door of the time house quietly opened at this moment. It can be seen that the embarrassed figures of Son Goku, Vegeta and Son Gohan stepped out of it. This time, the 3 of them have been practicing in the time house for 8 years, and their own strength has also been raised to a whole new level. At this moment, all 3 of Son Goku are sure to compete with Broly and even compete with Bupa. For a time, the emotions on the faces of the 3 of them became more and more intense, and even 0.7 couldn't wait to go to the new Vegeta star. Goku. 35. Gohan. At this time, Piccolo's voice came. Looking through the prestige, Piccolo can be seen in a hurry. In the area next to Piccolo, there is a new Namek, who is a day after he grows up. Soon, Piccolo and Tantan arrived in the area where Son Goku was 3. Mr. Goku. Mr. Gohan. Namek wants your rescue. Without the slightest hesitation, Tantan stepped forward and bowed, his eyes full of pleading. You are Tanshin. Seeing Tantan growing up, Son Gohan was a little surprised. Aren't you in the new Namek? How did it appear on Earth? Could it be that Bupa has already invaded you? Chapter 75 Rescue Namek. Z warriors are on the expedition. Not only Son Gohan, but also Son Goku and Vegeta on the side looked solemn. They all knew where Bupa got the new Namek coordinates from Buma. If it was Bupa who invaded Namek, then it's all about them. After all, if it wasn't in exchange for their lives, Buma wouldn't have been able to tell Namek's coordinates before. No, it's not. Shaking his head, Tantan didn't quite know who Bupa, Son Goku and others were referring to. But he didn't have any intention of asking anything. Thinking of the new Namek crisis, Tanshin quickly said, it's Slug, that's a super evil Namek. 5. The elder said that Slug will soon find where the new Namek is, and that will be the end of our Namek. However, the elders were unwilling to use the Dragon Ball to resolve the crisis. In desperation, I secretly took the universe spaceship to come to Earth for help. Slug. Super Namek people. 20. After listening to Tantan's story, the 3 of Son Goku breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily it wasn't because of Bupa, otherwise they really didn't have the face to face Tanshin. Thinking of this, Vegeta stepped forward and said, so, let's leave for the new Namek. Not just Slug, but Bupa, who, if nothing else, will be heading to the new Namek soon. This time, I must defeat him completely and let him experience the pain of defeat. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of Son Goku and Son Gohan were also solemn. They have spent 8 years of hard work in the time house, and their strength has also been greatly improved. This time, Bupa must be defeated and Buma will be rescued. Okay, then let's go now. Almost instantly, Son Goku made up his mind and said without hesitation. Hearing this, I am overjoyed every day. With the 3 Son Goku coming to support, Slug's crisis will surely be lifted. Thinking of this, Tantan looked overjoyed and said, so, let's go. 99. But the universe spaceship I'm on can only take 1 person there. 35. Mr. Goku, do you still have the universe spacecraft on Earth? Only take 1 person. Hearing this, Son Goku frowned. If that's the case, that's not really good news. After all, they had only been in the time house for 8 days, and Buma's father didn't know if he had built the universe spaceship. Let's take a flight. At this time, Piccolo stepped forward and said, If I remember correctly, there is still an aircraft left in Buma's house when Vegeta and you invaded the Earth. Although the aircraft can only take one person, with the aircraft in Tantan's hand, the three of you should be able to go to the new Namek together. It is good. Hearing this, Vegeta's eyes suddenly lit up and said, the speed of the aircraft is faster than that of the universe spaceship. I will go back and get it now. After speaking, Vegeta no longer hesitated, jumped up and galloped directly towards Xidu. After Vegeta left, Son Goku looked at Piccolo and said, Piccolo, won't you come with us? I'm not going. Hearing this, Piccolo shook his head and said, I still need to wait on Earth for Dragon Ball to recover. When the time comes, I will restore the vitality of the Earth as soon as possible, and then you can use the Namek Dragon Ball to resurrect human beings. So, under such circumstances, if I leave rashly, there may be chaos in Dragon Ball. Hearing this, Son Goku couldn't help but nodded. As Piccolo said, Namek must go to support, but things on Earth are also urgent. Thinking of this, Son Goku said immediately, so, let's wait for Vegeta to come back, then we'll set off directly. 35. An hour later, Vegeta returned with two somewhat worn aircraft. Although it doesn't look very good, it has been completely restored, enough to support their interstellar voyage to the new Namek. At this point, the group did not hesitate, and after entering the aircraft, they began to speed away in the direction of the new Namek. Within the boundless universe, a spaceship moved forward rapidly, and Bupa and Broly practiced in the room. Da. At this moment, there was a sound of footsteps. Looking at the sound, it can be seen that Buma came in a hurry. After entering the room, Buma then said, Bupa, I have already remodeled room 3. The gravity has already reached the point of 200 times. Are you done? With a flash of light in his eyes, Bupa immediately stopped exercising in his hands. After standing up, Bupa turned his head to look at Broly and said, Broly, you go to room 3 to practice right now. In an environment of 200 times the gravity, you can quickly increase your strength, so that you can become stronger as soon as possible. At the same time, you must also try the transformation of Chuan Chao too. Yes, sir. Hearing this, Broly 053 nodded heavily. He has been hit hard on Earth before, whether it is Son Goku, Son Gohan has the power to fight him. This is definitely a huge blow for Broly, so he urgently needs to improve his strength now. And if he wants to improve his strength, in addition to the basic combat power, there is only the transformation of Chuan Chao 2 form. Thinking of this, Broly immediately said, brother, then I will go to practice first. After finishing speaking, Broly didn't stay any longer, turned around and walked towards the number 3 training room. Bupa, will you kill the Namek people? 35. When Broly left, Buma looked at Bupa hesitantly and asked, then see if they are knowledgeable. Glancing at Buma, Bupa said indifferently, if they are not literate, then they have no meaning to exist. You. Hearing this, Buma opened his mouth, and his eyes flashed with worry. She understands that Bupa can't be bluffing, and once the Namek people really refuse to surrender, I'm afraid. All right. However, before Bupa could continue to say anything, Bupa interrupted with a wave of his hand. Come with me. There is still about a month left, let's take a good rest. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this and join my Patreon if you want to support me. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.